Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
hello. We are here.
We are, and we're going to have a guest. Our guest, though, is going to be a couple minutes late.
And we can leave it a surprise.
Sure,
That's
that sounds
good.
good. Let's leave it a surprise. How has everyone's week been? Or 2 weeks, I guess, since we last met.
2 weeks.
True.
It's been hectic. I just finished my midterms corrections, so I'm having March break currently. And I am in the province of Ontario, Toronto City,
You are.
enjoying my March break and some workshops because I'm taking workshops during the morning.
Oh, that's fun.
All right. What workshops are you taking?
They are kind of like a mix of managing finances and especially with adolescents that are doing on its own. So it's kind of like a parent kids workshops. And then I'm doing other workshops that are related to learning. So also again about teenagers and how it's about learning. So I had one on Monday and I started the financial one on Tuesday. That will go until Thursday. And then Friday, I have another workshop. Oh, yeah.
Does not sound like a very relaxing March break.
Oh, it's not a relaxing. Well, it is because afternoon we go to restaurants and then I went for the first time to the CN Tower, to the highest point of North America. Fantastic. So I was like memorable. And I'm afraid of heights. So that's something.
Oh.
I am too. I've never been up. Dad, Mom, I think Dad, Mom, and Daniel have all been up, but I have no interest. I do not like heights.
I thought I had no interest, but then once I was there, it was so beautiful. I took many pictures, but then I was inspired to do this watercolor art while I was there.
Look at that.
I've been drawing in every cafe we had the opportunity. So with my husband, we arrived to the home that we're staying at, and I fall asleep right away. It's like the end of the, boom, dying.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been very hot here for the Bay Area. So we're in the high 20s. Feels like 30 degrees Celsius.
I miss hot. I miss summer.
Just kind of like, it's not, we don't get the summer everyone else has, but we have these weird, like 2 weeks of weird hot that happens in the weird times, like now, and then the next one will be in like September.
I like how you describe it as weird hot, and like all of our snow melted. It was blissful for a couple days, and then I think Toronto had a bunch of freezing rain and snow. Like, it's just been gross.
Dude, I just came from like minus 15, 20 every freaking day for 2 months into this. This is like really odd.
Yeah. That's fair. To be fair, I would struggle with that too, because like we've had as cold as minus 35, which is minus 31 Fahrenheit. And so going from that to 30 Celsius would be quite the swing.
Yeah, I remember taking an exam at like minus 30 and like my glasses fogging and freezing over.
Yeah.
It gets to the point. I was outside doing something a couple days ago, and I was like, we were outside for like 10 minutes. And I came back in, and it wasn't just my fingertips were burning, my eardrums were burning. And I was like, I'm done with winter. Like, I'm done.
I am so done with winter. I saw the snow drizzles just before going inside the house, and I was like, no, I cannot deal with snow anymore.
Yeah, I am very much done with winter. I am looking forward to hopefully a very long spring, summer, and fall. Please God, a long spring, summer, and fall.
Yeah.
I feel like there is a weird thing when if you had a very cold winter, you usually have a pretty hot summer. So, compensates.
Which is what we experienced last year. We had a really cold winter with a lot of snow, and we had a really hot summer.
Yeah. I want to say hi to everybody that connected, and everybody
Yeah.
started saying hi, hi, hi. And then 12
Toro-
Celsius in Vancouver. So that's a big difference between that in
So
Quebec and Ontario.
It feels like -5 right now in Toronto and is snowing.
Yeah, snowing and yeah.
And
I
it is
feel
going
like-
to it is going to snow today.
Tomorrow
feel like-
and the day
No
after.
snow tomorrow. Rain. No snow. Back to below zero. So freezing rain. More snow on Monday.
Oh, no
Like,
way.
we are just in this cycle of snow, freezing rain, like a clear day where everything melts, and then freezing rain and snow. And so it is gross outside.
Yeah.
I'll say, I
Yeah.
feel like you guys you are the normal winter in the way, and like us with Corolla, we're in this weird bubble
Yeah.
of weather.
Corolla, I miss living in Toronto, but I don't miss the
I
weather.
don't miss the weather.
That's fair.
Well, David is in Chicago.
15.
Chicago should be kind of
Colder. Chicago is similar to Montreal.
I
Kind of
mean, they
gets
have
kind of close to
intense
the
winters there. I've been there.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
can get cold in the winter.
Yeah.
Right now it
Windy.
feels like 5 degrees Celsius in Chicago. I'm jealous. It's above zero.
It's better than here.
Yeah. I'm just like anything is better than snow followed by freezing rain, followed by warm enough to melt. Because at some point stuff starts to flood.
Yeah.
And then the water treatment plants start to flood. And then communities are under boil water advisories. Like it is the worst season of the year in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. The melting and the freezing and the melting and the freezing at the same time.
Yeah. It is the melting and the refreezing and then the freezing rain on top of everything. Because then everything's slippery.
Yeah.
And if you're in the vehicle going anywhere, then you've got rain freezing on your windshield.
Yeah.
I hate
Everything's
The
this
good
time.
thing that makes me happy during this time is just visiting pen stores in Toronto.
Being
that I
inside.
haven't seen in a while. Going outside, getting cold, and then going inside the store and getting nice stuff and be happy for a little bit. I also got some stationery stickers, of course, but then, these things make me so happy. I don't know if anybody have seen this.
Are you
These are
in
Japanese stamps
Okay.
that you layer.
Mm-hmm. They're really cool.
They're really cool. And there is, look at this so cute refill of the ink.
Oh, it's tiny.
Oh my gosh. This is the thing.
Do you
I
have
don't
space
know.
for all of us to just like move in?
Yeah, so in my experience, it's good. Central Europe is better weather, man.
The weather in Vienna.
Can we all just like move in?
Yes.
The only outside stuff I've done is prune fruit trees, because as soon as it's warmer than -17, you can prune fruit trees.
Right.
And so I've done that because you have to do that also before they bud out in full leaf.
Well,
But
Austria
other than
is one of those countries that I would like to visit eventually in my life, in the future. So, yes, let's
I
go.
have anecdote about winter in like a climate that is milder than yours guys. So my grandmother used to live in like this Mediterranean climate, but it was a cold winter for her. So she had a peach tree and she's like, I'm not gonna have fruit that year. She wrapped stuff into sarin wrap and it started blooming in January. So
So I was reading something from somebody in California. They'd lived on the property for 20 years. The only time this peach tree has flowered was one year that they actually had a cold snap and had frost and snow. They live in Southern California. And since then, it has not produced a single peach because apparently the variety they have actually needs to be cold to
Oh,
produce fruit. And so there were people being really helpful and giving them tips like try buying ice and packing it around the roots for like a couple days. And I'm like,
Yeah, I
or,
didn't know.
or plant a variety of fruit that doesn't need to be cold before it will produce flowers.
I didn't
There
know
are
that.
solutions.
That's so funny. I kill all the plants that I have in my house. I'm so bad at
Have you tried
plants.
cacti? It might work.
Well, the origin of my life started in a city that is full of cacti. So I should try that kind of a vegetable.
Come back to your humble beginning.
Right now, I'm being bullied by tomatoes.
I don't think the
that are
cacti
this
is going to
tall.
survive anyways.
I don't know. I think it's time for us all to start a wager. If you're
Yes.
gonna get a couple of cacti, will they
Will
survive?
Kari kill her plants?
Yes.
Will I
I'm
keep
so bad.
mine alive long enough or protected long enough this year for them to actually produce fruit? Because last year we had a tornado. And so suddenly all the fruit that was on trees got ripped off of trees.
Oh, no way.
And I had no fruit coming off fruit trees.
This is the
And
only thing I
was
have to say
pissed.
about the weather here, that in my garden, the plants live on its own. So Mother Nature makes things beautiful. Like I don't have to take care of my garden except for weeding, like
Yeah.
removing. That's the only thing I do because it's so prosperous. I cannot say enough about the person that used to live before me, because he did all the planting of these perennial, not perennial, how to say that, those plants that are, hey,
Hey, hello everyone. Sorry, keep
how
going,
are
Carrie. Don't-
you?
I'm just a fly on the wall. Don't
Perfect.
let me
So good to
interrupt.
see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you. I had no idea you'd be a part of this, so it makes it extra exciting.
Yeah.
To be fair,
All right.
Kari has been in a class recently and so has not been joining until 9 p.m.
Okay.
And so
Cool.
when I asked you, I did not think Kari was going to be part of this either.
Yeah, we didn't know.
All right. Cool.
We didn't know.
Well, excellent.
We're here.
Excellent. We have 4 nice squares.
Yes.
Or tiles.
So
We're gonna have an
before we-
awkward.
yes.
Now it's even. It's balanced. So
It's
we
balanced.
can all
So
we can all
before we
talk
get
in
into
balance. The viewer will be happy. Be very happy.
before we get
I'm
into the
confident.
pen questions, because we've clearly been off piece talking about plants. Do you have a green thumb or do you kill all your plants like Kari does?
So the fascinating thing is that I am not directly, I'm the beneficiary of other people's green thumbs. So I like, my mother is actually what they call a master gardener. Like in the state of New Jersey, they have this thing called master gardener. She can like come give you like advice about your garden and your planting and water usage and things like that. And we do a little planning here, but we never go so far as to like really do anything that's like gonna, I don't know. We have a lot of herbs. Does that count?
Sure.
Herbs, safe, reliable. Sometimes the animals eat them, and then we're like, we can't plant that herb anymore. We had a pepper plant that died in the drought, though. We couldn't, not the drought, but like we had the heat wave last year. We couldn't really water it. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt this whole thing. I thought Alexandra would let me in at like a more opportune moment, not like mid story from Carrie. So I'm sorry to everybody. Even though I don't take full responsibility, I only take part of it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Alexandra saw you pop up and went, "Oh, she needs to do something," and so let you in as soon as you popped up on her screen with an actual camera and not just a box.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, Carrie, and it's apology both from me and on behalf of.
Oh, don't worry.
Alexandra, so
Apparently,
Please
people like you
continue.
just dropping in. So
That's perfect. And we need actually to know how have you been,
How have I been? All
Well,
right.
no, wait. Let's, because like not everyone.
Yeah,
might
one thing at a
not know
time.
Yeah.
We need
Not
some
everyone-
organization.
Not
Is there an
everyone knows
agenda?
who
I didn't
he
get
is,
an
Kari.
agenda.
No one gets an
there
agenda
an
for the
agenda?
show.
Oh, okay.
No, okay, all right.
Introduce
All right, good.
yourself.
I didn't ignore that email.
No,
I know you.
I do not run an organized podcast here. Let's be clear.
Okay.
I am
Fair.
not running something where I give people meeting notes. We've tried that. It doesn't work.
Yeah, all right.
As we just go off
Respect.
vibes.
All right. I love vibing. Anyone you
Let's
ask,
be
they'll tell you. Top viber. Just all about vibes. Can vibe like nobody else vibes. I am maybe the best viber.
So for the people who don't know who you are, who are you?
Yeah. All right. So as you can see, I am attorney Joshua J. Lax. I practice criminal defense and some civil litigation. I just completed a big trial in Brooklyn last week on the first day of the Baltimore Penn Show. And then I came to the Baltimore Penn Show, where I did my second job, which is to basically repair and modify, service people's nibs. It's a big nib person, nib professional, you might say. So, and then I host I don't really host, I make like a small YouTube channel called Uncapped, where I talk about pens that I think only some people care about, which is fine. Like that's what I'm trying to do. But it's not big. I don't do a lot of reviews. I kind of just geek out on stuff. So if you're into that, it's perfect for you. If you're not into it, respect, but you know, I just do that type of thing.
In my opinion, it is one of the most informative channels out there. Like the amount
Thank you. I appreciate
also
that.
taught me about pens. We always have really good conversations at pen shows, but your video on nibs and feeds is one of the videos that has taught me the most on the internet, and I wish existed 3 years ago when I was first getting into pens.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
A lot of people did not realize that you actually are capable of restoring pens. Like that's what I learned from the channel.
Yeah, I do that for myself mainly. I don't really like to do the nib work. You should know about vintage pens because people come to you with vintage pen problems all the time. Or nib problems on a vintage pen, and you need to know how it's constructed, or else you're taking a lot of risk, we'll say. So, and I before I was ever into the idea of like being a nib professional, I started as like my kind of tinkering in the hobby with vintage pens. So I enjoy vintage pens. I would encourage everybody, part of what I'm trying to do is just teach people about like what's accessible out there and just so you have some knowledge about like what to look for. So I encourage everyone to like kind of give them a try if you haven't. But yes, I can do some restorations. There's certain things that I need much more elaborate like equipment to do, like a Schaefer vac fill. I'm not really set up to like repair one of those. But I do other stuff. There's some other complicated things I'll do, but some things I don't do. So, and I don't feel experienced enough to do it for the public as well, generally speaking.
But I have to say that you have a way of explaining things that are very comprehensive for everybody, because the first time I met you, it was a long time ago. It was like after the pandemic, on the first year that you went really on a panel of vintage pens, and when you had the time and the opportunity to explain about vintage pens, I didn't have any vintage pens at that point. Well, my dad pen, but I didn't own many vintage pens at that point. And you explained the vintage pen in a way that it was easy for everybody to understand the mechanism of the pen, how to refill some of the pens. And I think you talk also that the value of a vintage pen compared to other pens and the way it writes. So for example, you spoke about the flex compared to other flex. And for me, it was kind of the beginning of the end with the vintage pens, because after that, I got many vintage pens, and
I feel like a lot of people are afraid of vintage pens. That's what
I think so.
Yeah.
experienced.
So that was what Carrie is referring to, the panel. The whole purpose of the panel that I started doing with this guy named Paul Arano, and then we recruited a few other people into the fold. Most of them subscribe to a way of talking about these things that is meant to be more accessible. But you know, there was a few kind of threads we were trying to, or obstacles we were trying to overcome or help people overcome, right? So like one thing, and I'm very explicit about this, like the pen community has changed significantly since I got into fountain pens in 2009. Like significantly. It used to skew much more like white older male, and it's much more diverse, right? And so one thing just culturally I noticed is that, you know, it's sometimes difficult for, and this dynamic has kind of went away because some of those folks have stopped coming to shows, but there were like amongst the people who sold vintage pens or would try to talk to you about vintage pens, there were just these guys who were, you know, they came off super condescending. I mean, they talked to me like I didn't know anything because I was younger sometimes. Others, you know, I'm sure is like, you know, I'm talking to three women, like I'm sure you had experiences where it was just like mansplaining central, right? So, you know, so first, so that dynamic, right? Like, how do we address that dynamic? That was like one of the problems. Another thing is, right, like if you're coming into gaining knowledge and like a commercial transaction, you know, you're going to come with a certain amount of skepticism. And so like there's that. We wanted to move that dynamic from like interrupting people's like exchange of information. The third thing is there's so much, right? Like we're on, I don't know, are we on YouTube at this moment? We're on something
We're
right
on
now.
YouTube.
And then this will go on what?
We're on YouTube, and when I get organized, it will go up onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Okay. Oh, very nice. My first Spotify appearance. Very exciting. Anyway, back to the point. The point being just that there's so much information out there, and you hear all this stuff. And so, you know, between going to a pen show where this might be your limited opportunity to like go hands-on with some of these things, and it becomes like a pain in the butt experience between the, you know, whoever you're looking at the pen and then, you know, kind of standing over you and then questioning what you're being told, all of that. And the wealth of memory, just want to give people like sort of like an easy baseline to get into it. And so we started with the panel, and then what we realized is, well, we can't just have a panel. Like people want to actually try this stuff and go hands-on. And so then we started doing this thing where like we break out into little groups, kind of like a meetup style, and someone brings their vintage pens that they're like okay with people writing with. So I bring a bunch of like stuff that I love, but it's all user stuff that I've used over the course of my pen career, pen life, whatever you want to call it. And so then and then what's kind of interesting that happens then is you end up start telling like all the stories about like how you acquired the pen, why it's cool, what, you know, so like it just like builds momentum. So at the end of it, people get a little bit of information. You know, I know that they're not walking away with like all the details. Like we're trying to go broad strokes. And so people come away with, I think, like a little bit of information, some things to maybe they like noticed and they liked. And then, you know, also just like the feeling of like the passion of the people, because we try and like bring the folks into it that present or share the pens, whatever, are going to be the right people to, you know, pose the message, if that makes sense. So it was a very deliberate plan. Like that's my point. But we love vintage pens so much. And like, you know, there's going to come a time when some of the people that can do really sophisticated fountain pen repairs are going to be gone. Like they're either going to be retired or they're going to have passed on. And so like that's going to present a challenge. The people who make some of the things we need to do those restoration, they may be gone if no one takes over. And like I'm not prepared to commit to that at this stage of my life. So we need to, you know, so there's a self-centered point of view with it. But at the same time, like it may be a good time to become someone who's trying to have vintage pens between like all the price increases, the tariffs we deal with in the US that come and go and whatnot. which I know in Canada you already have experience with it, so you look at us like we're just a bunch of babies, much in the way the British look at us over the Revolution, which is a fascinating topic we could talk about, but we won't get into that. They think we did well. I'll just say it. They think we all were overreacting to taxes. They think we should have accepted the taxes because everyone else accepted the taxes. You could, people watching this can make their own judgment, but I don't want to spend too much time on this. I'm sorry to bring that in.
Another topic, another
day. I love how you're having this conversation with people. Yeah. No, none of us are U.S. citizens.
Oh, I do live in the U.S.,
you're the only one. Most of us hold more than one passport.
Yeah.
What? I'm the only one. Yeah. All right.
You're the only American, and most of us hold more than one passport.
Okay. All right. I'm cool with that. But I thought 50% at least. I didn't want to.
No, I live in California, but I used to live in European Union. So like I understand how it's a big deal for the US. And I understand from that standpoint, like it is a little bit like, it's like it's a hustle, but that's reality. But I also see it from a different perspective of America actually buying a lot. And that's kind of cultural thing that we all internationally rely on. So
yes, that is wrapped up in this, but I just am making the point that we've always kind of bellyached over things that the rest of the world accept as like the normal way. And it goes back literally to the beginning of the United States when we broke away from Britain. And if you talk to British historians, they'll tell you like America like thought they were being bullied, but like everyone in the entire British Empire was getting taxed like through the nose, and we're the only ones that were just babies and like throwing the tea in the water and stuff like that. So anyway, I don't want to get too far afield. Maybe we will contribute to the cultural dialogue of our two countries, but back to vintage pens. So where was I? Oh, so with the tariffs. So like these things potentially are immune from the tariffs. And I think one of the points I'm trying to make to people is, like with kind of all in, depending on what you're buying, like you can get like a really great gold nib fountain pen to various materials and like formats, but you can get it for now like 25% the cost of like Sailor Pro Gear or something. And not that there's anything wrong with a Sailor Pro Gear. The nibs are very exciting. People love them. I like them. They're great. However, if it is becoming, prohibitive, I think, for some people. And if you're looking to, keep collecting, keep acquiring, it is like an option. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So if I'm glad to hear, Carrie, you got into it, right? Because it's not a replacement, right, for the pens you had already. Different. It's just like a supplement.
I have to say that I've never discriminated against modern and vintage pen. I think both of them offer different type of variety. So for example, modern pen for me, it's about the design, the colors, the materials, the new, the fashionable. But then if you tell me about the writing, I still kind of feel like when I'm doing deep down my calligraphy and when I write letters to my friends that they enjoy the handwriting part, I always write with the Conklin Crescent from 1920s and it's still working, it's the flex nib opens like so wide. I cannot explain. I think there are modern pens that are kind of now shifting to flex, but it's a different approach to the nib. This one is a tiny, tiny nib, and you cannot believe how much it flexes.
I've tried it. It's crazy bad.
So, and then I also own like Sheffers and Parkers from the mid-century before. So it's like kind of a very diverse the vintage pens that I own and different type of writing style. I enjoy them so much because they are different. And the refill system is different in all of them too. Like I'm talking about the crescent filler, which is completely different from the push filler and the vacuumatic And yeah, so every pen is different. I don't know. Vintage pen I like because the size of the pen is in the smaller size.
Mhm.
And I like kind of this tapered feeling when I
Yeah,
write.
and I feel like that is not for everyone. I have my favorite, and the girls know, is a Minerva from 1930s, and that's an oversized pen.
Oh.
And that is a
Yeah.
normal size, somewhat pen,
Mhm.
right, for nowadays. But that, I feel like that's another thing that people don't realize, and that's why I always say you should go to the pen show and see a pen in person, especially if it's vintage, because a lot of times it looks, oh, you know, I'm gonna buy a pen online, and you're expecting that's gonna be like a normal size, but it's
Yeah.
gonna be tiny.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another kind of thing with vintage pens. But I do think right now, because of the tariffs and price increases, great time for vintage, great time for buying a Pelican you missed out on. You know, like I found
Yeah.
a lot of Pelicans that are no longer produced, like M640s. Great
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and they're fairly durable too. I mean, the other thing we always tell people at these programs, and I think it's true, you know, like now, actually, not let's not talk about now. Let's talk about like in the 90s to the 2000s, right? Like
Yeah.
you could be a fountain pen manufacturer and you could get away with a lot of like bad stuff. Like you know, you could have major problems. Like your pens might not even write and you could get away with it, right? Like now people would, you know, you'd get trashed online. Or we hope that, you know, it would come out, right? But back in the day when like, you know, fountain pens were like the thing people wrote with, and like there was no ballpoints and there were no roller balls or gel rollers, whatever, you know, these companies were competing with each other for like this huge market. And so if you were coming out with crap products that fell apart after usage every day, you know, you were going to get destroyed in the market. So, you know, a lot of them are actually very well made. And one thing is even the cheap stuff, like what was considered, you know, a student pen or, you know, something that was like relatively, you know, low end,
The whatever
yeah,
pens.
yeah,
We have
like
so many of those.
The
yeah,
Parker
and they're
9
great. Like
yeah, the Parker 19. Like this was the original Parker 19 was I think $1.86.
Wow.
They were
Yeah.
cheap pens.
yeah,
And when they came
Like
out
if-
with the gold one, it was like $3.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so there's a lot out there, and on my channel, I'm just trying to show people things. I don't know if you make content, I feel like people like stuff where they like can find things to buy. Like that's what the algorithm is showing me. And so I want to give people the information I want to give them, but I also want to give them what they want, which is, you know, well, what can I buy? I had one of the first panels we did. Someone had a really great question, which was, if you tell me there's a Parker 51, I want to know, is there a Parker 52? And that was like a really great question because it's like, yeah, well, there is a Parker 52. It just jumps to the Parker whatever at some point, and then it goes back down to 25 at some point, you know, and then it's back up to 95. Like, you know, there's no, you know, but he was
There's
like a
no
video game
rhyme or
player, and he
reason
was
to
like
how
thinking
they
of it through
number.
that lens. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason they did it. Just I don't know what the reasons are, and I don't know if anyone knows for sure at this point.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's the vintage pens. So yeah, so
What-
I'm a lawyer, nib guy. I'm also a preacher for the Church of Vintage Pens of Latter-day Saints.
The cult of the
That's all I
Black
do.
Pen Society.
Yeah, well,
Do you-
yes, the Black Pen Society.
Do you
Yes.
have
so
a
somewhat
title in
involved
the
in
Black
that.
Pen Society? Did
There
Paul
is
give you
like
a
a
title?
badge.
So how do I explain this?
You need to
To
explain
be
because
fair, there's an
So-
entire video up on my channel about the Black Pen Society that Paul did that people can go and
Yeah.
watch that involves a Grand Duke. Like if people need the lore, they can go find the lore.
Yeah,
I will
well,
leave
there's
a link
there's
to the lore.
Yes, definitely leave a link to the lore. I would say I fit into the lore more in even more mythical proportions just because I'm not like they all have like these like titles like nobility. I'm not like in their like hierarchy of whatever. I'm separate. I'm what you might call the pirate captain, where I sail on the seas and I answer to no king, no country.
So
And
you're
yet I
in the
am of the
ranking
Black
somewhere like
Pens.
you're in the ranking somewhere like Scott Newman is, where it's like Scott's the official keeper of the fez, but Scott actually has a different title.
Yeah, I don't even that to me that's part of the normal authority. Like I'm not in that at all.
You're a visiting
removed.
member.
I sail around the seas, and if ever we must come to land, we do. But that's like, you know, we don't fly under anyone's flag. It's a black flag, a black pen flag.
I'm like,
but
maybe
it's
I should like
the
show
Black Pen
pins for
Society
people that
flag.
have no idea what we're talking about. These are Black Pen Society pins. They're highly sought after.
Let's back up, Alexandra, and say the whole thing, just because I don't think the pins gives the whole thing. So basically, years ago, right? So I was talking about old white dudes dominating the pen community. When they were not as old,
it's a Ponzi scheme. It's not a
Ponzi
it's a
scheme?
Ponzi scheme. I'm not allowed to call it a cult.
Pin pirate.
It's not a Ponzi scheme. Ponzi scheme is totally different. We could talk about that. I'm qualified to discuss that as well.
It's a Ponzi scheme.
Oh no!
Is it registered
I don't know about that.
Because they could.
No, I guess it's a Ponzi scheme in the sense of basically, let's just explain, because now people have no idea what we're talking about. Basically, all it is that it's people like back in the day when all these guys were just like hoarding vintage pens. They would all go for what everyone goes for now, like bright colored, swirly, celluloid things. And Paul was just like, you know, I like black pens. What is everyone's problem with black pens? And whoever he was talking to was like, yeah, I like black pens too. And that's the founding of the Black Pen Society. So to join the Black Pen Society, all you have to do is answer a question, which is, do you like black pens?
Do you like black pens?
And if you say yes, you're in. What?
And pay Paul $5.
No.
Yes.
$5 is if you want the pin. I have not bought the pin.
I had to pay him $5 for my membership and another $5 for my first year pin.
You must have angered him in some way, Alexandra.
Oh no!
This is not adding up. Like you must have come on, you know, with some sort of dismissive tone or something, and he
was just pissed off because it was, you know, halfway through Friday at Washington,
never. That doesn't happen.
Tuna. Never.
I think he probably sold you the pin because you were in. You get a pin if you buy the pin. You don't have to buy the pin.
Yes.
So, do either of you?
I participated in a couple of meetings, but then what happened is that at the same time, my journaling friends get together. So it's kind of like difficult to organize something in the same schedule because the weekend is so short, and there are so many activities and so many gatherings at the same time happening and overlapping between each other. So that's the situation with the Black Pen Society. It was hard to get into the meeting, and at the same time, it was like another event happening.
Yeah. I'm ashamed to admit that as an international affairs person, I've never been to DC, so I need to go.
You need to go.
You gotta go.
We need to bring Marina to DC this year.
Yep.
It was.
I agree. You need to come.
I went to the meeting. I went to the meeting this year, mostly so that I could snag people for interviews afterwards, and because Scott Newman had told me he made the fez light up, and I needed to go see the light up fez, and it was truly magnificent.
It's a big thing.
It
as a pirate captain, seldomly attend. I like Carrie, have many obligations. I have a whole crew. You know, so
somebody's given you a new title.
I know. I don't know if I think they have to write the Black Pen Society and suggest that.
And you'll have to write Paul, David.
I just actually realized the comment section. Like I opened it. There's some good questions here. We should pay attention to the public more than talking about our own stuff.
No, I'm saving the questions. I've got a Q&A post.
Okay. All right. right.
Because
I mean,
what
I
I-
have questions too, so you
what,
know.
what I was
All right.
going to, what I was gonna say was your comment that you were sure that we'd experienced some weird comments as women buying vintage was interesting because the only people I buy vintage from in the pen world are the only people that didn't dismiss me at the Chicago Pen Show in 2024 for being 23 and being interested in vintage.
Yeah,
Right.
but I mean, that's a real thing, right?
It
is. You know,
That's going
That's
to your
like a real-
mansplaining
Exactly.
You know.
comment. Yeah, that's
There's-
what it
you
is.
know,
Yeah.
some of those people are fading out of the scene though. Like there
Yeah.
used to be a lot more of them when you go to a show, and that's
Even
actually,
in
you know, it's a lot
2024,
more.
there were a lot more of them than there are now going
Yeah.
to shows. But
Yeah.
it was like the people I deal with in the vintage world now are the people that weren't dismissive to a 23-year-old who wanted to talk about vintage Parkers.
Yeah. Well,
That is pretty
If
much
it's
all I
gonna-
wanted
but-
to talk about.
if it's gonna survive, if that passion, which even those people who are dismissive probably would tell you that they shared, you know, you one can't be dismissive.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll tell you the biggest thing we struggled with was, and I think we finally have it. We were just trying to diversify our panels a little bit and have female people. You know, females. I don't know why I said female people. That was weird. I'm sorry, everybody. But to have, you know, less male speakers and diversify that, because frankly, I will tell you, I mean, age was more diversified, but it was overwhelmingly white men for most of the time we're doing it.
Tell
And
you
we're
about
finally.
my daddy's pen.
But I
What?
have to say that my experience when I sorry.
I'm imagining these older men. I'm sorry. I have this comedy kind of vision of mine, seeing a man getting up and being like, "Let me tell you about my daddy's pen that I've had for a long time." Anyhow, that's kind of what I think of when you explain about the pen.
Yeah,
Like
I have
that's
a
where you're trying to
completely different
diversify.
experience, because I remember the first time going to DC, Barry was the first one that walked me inside and
Yeah.
introduced me to all the gang. And I would say the gang because it's a very diverse group, but as you said, it's mainly male dominated environment. But when I went for the first time and I met Mike, he was the one that actually got me that vintage flex pen. And it's kind of the beginning of the end, because that first pen took me to another pen and then started trading pens with other people, because vintage pen is not like, oh, you go to the show. Most of the time people, they don't like the vintage pens, and so I end up getting those ones and sending those ones to repair. And then I don't know, it's kind of like a different cycle than the modern pens that you just buy anywhere. I think vintage pens is more personal. It has this kind of conversation around, and everybody will explain, oh, you know what happened? I'm selling this pen because I want to get this more expensive one, which is actually another vintage pen. So you buy the cheaper one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do feel like I have a rotating door when it comes to vintage stuff. Like I just got 7 vintage pens, and I doubt I'm going to keep all 7, but they came as an auction lot. And really, I wanted 3 of them. And so I have 7. And I'm like, I'm probably going to get somebody to harvest the nib out of one of them. But like, I don't need all 7 of these pens.
Bring them to DC. You will find.
I don't know that
somebody.
I'm coming to DC, Kari.
Oh.
Grandma turns 90 this summer. Like,
Oh, okay.
I don't
Big
know that I'm
one.
Big
coming
deal.
to
Drive you?
Yeah.
I will drive you.
Yeah, but I don't know that I'm coming to DC.
Yeah.
A,
Alright.
it's expensive, and B, Grandma turns 90 like the week before.
Yeah. It's important to stay with Granny. I understand.
Yeah.
Well, I think she might disown me if I missed her 90th birthday party.
Yes.
I might get
And-
disowned.
You
And there'll
must
be
in
more
her
pen
will.
shows.
Yeah.
There will
There'll
be
only
more
one
pen shows.
90th birthday.
That is true.
Yeah.
So
So Q&A, let's check.
All right,
right.
let me see my notes. Alexandra, you have anything from people in the chat?
Grandma does not want to go to DC for her 90th birthday.
No.
Grandma
You
does
probably don't want to go
not
anywhere when you're
Ruth.
want to go to DC for her 90th birthday. She does want to go to the cabin, but Granny does not want to go to DC for her 90th birthday. I had almost convinced her to do Chicago with us in May, but then she's decided she really doesn't want to travel internationally anymore, and so she is not going to do Chicago with us.
Right.
Apparently, as pen pirate, you just should take the title, or they'll take it themselves.
Yeah, I guess I only have one ship though, so I feel Admiral is a little bit of an oversell, and I want to maintain my credibility with the community, such as it is. So, say Admiral, they're like, "Oh, you must have captains underneath you." Nope, no captains. Just me, only one.
Captain Sparrow.
You know, oh, you must have multiple ships then, eh, Lex? Nope, just the one. Me and a few guys, that's it. They don't even show up most of the time. They spend their time on land. It's very disappointing. So I don't want to oversell it. That's why I'm hesitant to. I mean, I get what they're saying. Yes, I make my own rules. However, I have a code, like all good pirates, that I abide by. And that says we practice integrity when we represent ourselves as a pirate captain and not an admiral.
That's a good one.
Only the captain gets to make himself an
No,
admiral.
I know. Yes,
They're really
yes,
not
of
dropping
course.
this.
They really want me to be an admiral. I don't know. I mean, do you want to? Are they? Maybe they're volunteering to be captains themselves. All right, this is an offline affair. Like we'll have to go to an island together. David Tokarski, Gizmo Geek, whoever else is. You know, maybe we'll get on the Pen Addict Slack. We'll do a channel. It'll just be called like Pen Pirates, and we'll organize, and then we'll go to the Black Pen Society and present this new force.
Well,
all right, what do you guys think?
I refuse to be on Slack because I don't need another social media, but I will, join that ship of bugging Paul about this.
People there's like discords, like I can't even fathom being on like multiple discords. Like I know like people do it and I respect it, but I just like I don't know, I'm 43 and it's like my brain is like from 1983. It was made in 1983. Can't handle multiple discords. I'm sorry. I can do like one program where everything is like one thing.
I relate to that.
I just Reddit. I'm finally understanding Reddit, even though I don't technically understand it. But
I have every single Discord that I have to be part of for different affiliate programs muted. Every once in a while, I open it, see that I have 400 notifications, and I close the app. YouTube people will know that suddenly this week I decided that I was answering comments again for the first time in 2.5 months. Winter's been rough, and I did 45 minutes of answering comments, made it 8 videos through in 45 minutes, and I went, this is why I don't answer comments
leave
anymore.
You with this.
Yes.
I'm comfortable with leaving my phone at home and going for a walk for like a couple of hours for a hike. I shouldn't be doing it, but I have no remorse.
Yeah.
I have an unconventional proposal to make to everyone. I'm interested with our friends in the chat what they think. There's no like section on Kalshi or one of these things with like pen models. Like I always like I'll tell you the background. Like you all know what I'm talking about, right? Like there's these apps now where you can buy a futures contract, which is like essentially what a derivative is in some ways. I don't know. I'm maybe fact checked on that, but it's not exactly right. But
basically,
and I always like the idea of The Big Short. That book, and there's a movie. It's by Michael Lewis. It's about so I had like this friend in college, and he wanted to be a movie maker, and like the guys in The Big Short that were like, I'm shorting that guy. I'm shorting that guy. I was like, this guy I knew. I was like, any movie this dude makes, I want to bet against it because it's going to be terrible. Anyway, now we have these apps where we could just set it up. And so like, I see things on like, your feed or whatever of like a pen coming out. And I'm like, I wish I could bet against that. Like, I wish I could get an insurance policy that company's going to lose money on that thing, and then I get the profit from it, and we could trade it.
Does
anyone else like what else? I mean, I don't know.
There are pens I see, and I go, 8 months from now, I'm going to see this in the clearance section.
That you should be able to bet on that.
The satisfaction I get when 8 months later I'm correct.
What if you could monetize
so
that
high.
satisfaction?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so there is another
That
app,
would be
and
dangerous.
this is also a possibility. You know how Arcos are very expensive now, and they're gonna probably get more expensive. There's certain
Mhm.
pens they used to be very cheap but expensive now, and there are people who want to own them, they can't. There is an app that you can basically collectively buy an artwork. You can collectively own a Van Gogh or something.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that with pens.
Ooh,
do that.
like a pen
Interesting.
share.
It's like you get like there's 100 shares and you get to buy one of them.
Yep.
So you get like $25, owns 1% of
one.
Arco
Yeah.
Almas or something. So
And then you get to use it once a year.
yeah.
It's gonna rotate.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Did any of you watch the show The Bear? There's like a very funny scene about like they're at like a wedding and like they're talking about exactly this thing where like, you get to own a piece of fine art and the guy's like, well, how often do I get to take it home? They're like, what, you think you could just like take home a piece of art you don't actually own? But that's not
Wow.
yeah. So
Similar.
yeah.
I don't disagree that publicly betting on the demise of a pen company would not be
No,
kind.
not
But-
demise of the pen company, just the failure of their design decisions.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Slight difference.
I
This
think-
is something I thought of.
Okay.
Not saying we have to do it.
I think most
Just
of
gave
us
away $1
know.
million idea,
like-
by the way.
I think all 4 of us have seen pens released and gone, this is going to end up in the clearance section and been proven correct. Because sometimes it is obvious that a color combination is not going to work on an actual product, but by the time they realize that, they were locked in on an actual product that they are now trying to sell. It happens.
Yeah,
in every
it happens.
industry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something that happens in every industry. But the price point of the pen roll does make it interesting because a steel nib sailor currently is MSRPing for $299 USD. And last year, that is what a Pro Gear Slim cost.
Oh, so the prices
with a gold nib. And so a steel nib is now the same price that a gold nib was.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad.
I mean, platinums you used to be able to buy them real cheap too. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget the pen I got last year that still had the original price tag on it. And the price tag was $160 less than what I bought the pen for.
Oh.
From an actual pen dealer. Because they forgot to take the original price tag off of it when they sold it. The pen market is changing rapidly.
Yep. That's why you can own a share of a pen.
You can own the share.
We all love pens. We just can't own them anymore.
Exactly. I think there were until the prices started going up so fast. There was this trend of companies like they will do releases constantly, like every month or every second month or every season they will release something. Like I remember Lamy used to release a pen every year or maybe like every second year, and then
Lamy releases twice a year.
Twice a year now. Well, but now twice a year, and then 4 different pens twice a year. So 2 different Safari, 2 different All-Star, and plus the ones that are a little high level. What are these companies going to do with all these tariffs and stuff? Are they going to still release those pens at this same rhythm? Or
Well,
I mean, those are not very expensive pens.
I know
Lamy
and
Kaweco is releasing 2 limited edition pens this year.
Right.
Like, no one is slowing down. Everyone's just increasing their prices.
that's it.
Yeah.
The consumers are still buying, I guess.
Yeah, well, no one knows the answer. One is too much. When is it too much for a Lamy Safari? When is it too much for the X, too much for Y, right? I mean, and then we have a compounding thing. I know, Alexandra, you've explored this with other people. You know, like the materials, like we have a problem with plastic now
We have a major
because
problem.
the Strait of Hormuz is closed, and you need
Oh,
petroleum to make plastic. It's like you know, it's science. So the idea that like there's a fuel shortage also means now that certain plastics are gonna be impacted. So
Well,
you know,
Rob and I talked about these pretty things a couple months ago.
yeah.
2 months ago. And 2 months ago, makers were already having issues with rods because the curing time, resin has a very short lifespan from the chemical components not even being mixed together in like as a product that you're then pouring into resin, because that's like minutes before it hardens. But like your part A and your part B have pretty much a 3 month lifespan before they start to degrade. And the issue is, by the time it was getting off a ship and clearing the ports and getting to consumers, it was already almost past its expiration date or past its expiration date. And that was 2 months ago. So it's not just going to be like plastic pens that are the issue. It's going to be any pens that include resin blanks, any pens that include plastic feeds. So every pen pretty much. Like this is potentially, we were talking about a 20% increase this year on most pen supplies. I don't think that's the case anymore. Like there's a reason why most makers in the past couple weeks have closed their commission lists. Nobody wants to be accepting orders when nobody knows what an end product is actually going to cost.
Right. Well, I feel
I
like
didn't realize that.
the difference is makers who are much more kind of shorter, planning compared to big companies that probably have planned and made stuff 2 years, 1.5 years in advance. And I feel like for the big companies, what you were talking about, that's what we're going to feel in the future. Similarly, like it was with pandemic, right? With the shortage of goods and things like that. That's my theory, but we shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Somebody is saying they saw an A5 notebook for $50 at Madoka.
I went to
Madoka's
Midoko yesterday.
one of my local paper stores.
Yeah.
And it is
But Stology is always more higher. Like there's always been a high price as far as I know.
It always has been, but A5 tends to be like it depends on if it's the full year or the like half year. The half year used to be about $20 Canadian, and the full year was around 35. And I'm seeing them on other sites right now for 40 and 25. So it depends on which version it is. But my big takeaway at Madoka these days is the empty shelves.
Yeah.
Because almost all of the Canadian products come through the States.
Yeah.
And so we're paying, in a way, we're paying the tariff as well, because the price on our shelf has changed too. The price of my paper has gone up. The price of my ink has gone up.
Right.
The price of everything has gone up here because everything is coming through the States, because there are almost no Canadian fine arts distributors.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great business opportunity, though. Like, and I'm not even being facetious. Like, you build up a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge, and you have all this market insight. Like, it's not a bad place to be if you can get investors.
If you have the capital.
To think about.
That's the issue, is that you need the capital to do it. Like, Waterman inks have not been on the market here for 2.5 years.
Interesting.
Parker inks have disappeared from the market. Like,
wow, that's really interesting. That to me is the most unexpected, because it's like those are Waterman and Parker are owned by like a huge European conglomerate. So I just assume that would be in Canada for sure. Like, why wouldn't
that's what I'm
there?
assuming. Yeah.
But they aren't.
They aren't. I have to order mine from the States and hope that when I go to a pen shop,
many products you have to order from the States.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've always thought the Belgian and French had like some special trade with you guys.
But there are not many distributors here in Canada. That's the thing. Those
So
many
that's-
companies, they have to have a mega distributor in North America,
Mhm.
but they don't have one specifically for the market in Canada because we don't have the same
Gotcha.
amount of population.
Okay.
So
So they
There-
planted in the US usually,
exactly,
not Canada.
that's
Mhm.
why.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The distribution all comes from the States up into Canada. So brands did spin off their Canadian distribution from their US distribution in early 2025. But in turn, we've had even more products disappear from the shelves because nobody has the capital to bring in full product lines.
Mm.
And so when I go to the States right now, I'm picking up like all the little things that I never used to have to pick up, like paper pads and inks, because I can't get them here anymore.
Wow. Can you get Rhodia paper? There's like Clairefontaine, Rhodia, all that stuff.
We
Well-
can, but it's up about 60%.
That is a lot.
Wow.
It's up in the US too. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Like when you
Um,
guys had a 30% increase, it jumped here about 60.
Yeah.
I'm going to Europe this summer, assuming there's no world war. And
Sorry,
I'm looking forward to trying to find like a Rhodia pad for like €2, like I used to back in 2019. I came back with like stacks of Rhodia pads, and it was great. I think I spent €30. I got like 20 pads with some
20
crazy amount of stuff
Wow.
at like a stationery store in Paris. So, but I don't know if I don't even know, those days may be over. I have no idea.
Are you
Yeah.
going to a specific country in Europe, or you're going to
Yes.
do like a big tour?
No, I'm going to France. So
Very nice.
hopefully I'll
Yeah.
report back. Schedule me. I'll give you the dates offline and schedule me for a report.
Good.
What it was like to return, after all this,
All right.
all this stuff.
Well, let's get into the actual questions.
Yes, let's do it.
Do you use fountain pens at work for notes?
The answer is absolutely. I almost only use fountain pens for all of my work. I just recently got into the Zento line, and when I say recently, I mean like last year. So here's like my bag. So I usually carry like what do I have? I have the Flow, green Flow. Love the green
Okay.
Flow. I have a Uni 1, but I replaced it with a Zento refill. And then, at the end of last year, I got the Golden Goose itself, the Zento signature.
Oh, I like that pen.
Admire me. Anyway, it's good. Actually, the judge at my trial, I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I was up at like the sidebar talking to him with other lawyers, and I noticed he had a Zento signature. And I'm like, holy crap, the judge has a Zento signature. And like, I'm with these two guys. They basically use like, whatever the office has like in a box in the cabinet. And I'm like, guys, you don't understand. He's a pen guy. He's a pen guy. He knows about the line. Do you know what it means that he has a Zento signature? So there was a break and he was just sitting there. And I asked him, I'm like, how did you get your Zento signature? And he's so hardcore. He got it when it was like, you could go on Amazon and just pick them up. No problem. He's like, back in the day, before there was a mania, you could get them on Amazon, no problem. I'm like, this guy rolls deep on.
Nice.
He's not a fountain pen guy. We talked about that. He was impressed that I, had this other life outside the courtroom involving pens. But he is like committed. He had I could see he had like a Safari rollerball. He had like an older Schaefer model, like from a few years ago, but like a metal thing that was kind of like a rollerball. And then he had the Zento, and he was just walking around with that Zento making notes. I was like, good for that guy.
Yeah.
Issuing orders in style. I can't believe I just said that out loud. I'm sorry, everyone in the comments, everyone watching. That was wrong. I should not have said that. That was too cheesy. I have 2 small children. Well, one's not so small. I have 2 children. I'm used to saying these things all the time. So I apologize if that was too much. So anyway, yes. So back to the answer. Yes,
Yeah.
fountain pens for work all the time. I will say I have different ones for different purposes. I have like the one that I will carry into the jail. Like I have a wing song. I'll show you that one too. I have it here. That I'll take into jail because one, it doesn't like. I think on the X-ray it looks more like a regular pen, and two, if it gets like taken or stolen or something weird happens inside the jail, I don't mind losing it. It can be replaced. So yeah, so there's things like that happen.
I think this is helping people to realize that our pen video where you discussed heated rivalry the entire time is
it was a good video.
the actual you, and that's just like how we are in person at events.
Yeah. What? You all they all think I was acting. They think that I would come on, that we would sit down together at a pen show, and I would just put on this act where I like put on a persona where I talk to you about heated rivalry and you deny having any direct knowledge, and then I just keep talking about it. That was all fake.
Or as we
for 20 minutes.
Wow.
Investment via taxes.
Sorry.
She has an investment via taxes in it. That's what I found out.
That's the
Wait,
National
what?
Council of the Arts funded the show, and so it was funded by Canadian tax dollars. That is the only part of the show I care about.
All right. I'll tell you, around in the United States during International Women's Day, there were some really good satirical videos being served up on social media about how like it's an awful time for women and like the only thing they have is heated rivalry. And I was like, it's sad because it's I don't even know if people would agree with the the direct premise, but you get what I'm saying. Like it was clever because that had this huge following and is also a terrible time for women internationally. So anyway, yes, that was real, all real. If that was a question, and was that a question in the comments? Like, was that for real? The answer is yes, it was for real.
Yes. No, so I got that question as a DM when it went out live. They were like, but is this what he's actually like? And I'm like, yes, genuinely, this is what he's actually like.
Is that what he's like? They asked you that? They use those words. Is that what he's like? Oh no. It's like I'm blushing. Like I don't know, Carrie, talk me through this. I don't know how to feel. I don't know.
You need a moment.
So when you said, is that what was it? Yes, or did you embellish a little more? Like, did you say other things?
I said they're a person that's never gotten nib work done before and have been very intimidated by it.
They're never gonna do it now.
I was like, no,
at least not with me.
He's actually like this, but also he's very chill and like you don't have to be scared about getting nib work done. Like it's not a scary thing.
Yeah, no. People should know that the personality is commensurate with the quality. So big personality, big quality. You could go to someone quieter, just can't guarantee you know what you're getting. Me, it's all out there.
All right.
What you
so
see is
talking
what you get.
about it, if people want to see you, have you decided on your shows this year, or is it not something you decide on? Just based
I didn't mean
on your other work.
So I am doing Atlanta in a week and a half, which I've never done before, but I'm giving it a try. So I'm excited for that. I usually do Philly, Baltimore, which I did this year and will likely do next year. I'm in DC, which I've done like pretty much my whole nib career, we'll call it. I will be in San Francisco.
Yay, I'll see you.
Yeah, there you go. Great show, like really fantastic show. I really enjoy the Boston show. It's called the Commonwealth Pen Show, so I do that. What else? So the other things I do, I've recently in the last year I started doing more store events, and because I like. There's two reasons for that. We're about to lift the curtain a little bit on like the nib smithing world. So it's really great to do a lot of this stuff with the people. That is like a absolute like benefit to have the customer there for a couple of reasons, some that you might not think of. Obviously it's great because we can get instant feedback and hopefully the person walks away feeling like it's exactly what they were looking for, right? Which happens 99.9% of the time. What I don't think a lot of people realize is when you're accepting things by mail, it is extremely labor intensive. Like there's just like a lot of administrative stuff you got to worry about, and it just takes time, and you don't really get compensated so much for that. And so everything together, just it's so much better to meet people in person, share the personality. You know, I am like that. I like the back and forth. I will ask you questions about you. You can ask me questions about me. We will do. We will talk like a bartender or like a hairstylist. You know, it's the same type of thing. We're just
The psychologist.
relaxing, talking. I'm working. You're sharing what you're willing to share. So I like that. So I started doing more store events. So there's a store in Boston, which is really great, called the Paper Mouse. So anyone who's like traveling through the Northeast, if you're going to Boston for some reason, and you can get over to West Newton, which is more of like a suburb of the main central part of Boston, but it's still like it's in Boston. It's a really great store. And I go there. I went there twice last year. I want to do a couple appearances there. I am in talks with some of the DC brick and mortar stores, and I've basically since November, I've done at least one day a month at Yoseka because that's really kind of like the home base. And Yoseka is just, I mean, Paper Mouse is great. It's on the same vibe. You know, I think you all have in Toronto, you have a store kind of similar. I forget which one it is. Is it Wonder Pens?
Wonder Pens.
Yeah,
And we've
Wonder
got
Pens.
Toronto Pen Shop, which
Toronto
also
Pen
has
Shop.
a similar vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. The Yoseka, the Yoseka community is really terrific. So I really dig it. The space, like I'm usually in now, like their event space, which is gorgeous. Like they keep adding to it. It's really great. So I'm really excited. So I'll be there on Saturday, and I'm going to be there with the DIY, the Kaweco glow in the dark DIY setup. So it'll be like a pretty exciting day. Like I think
I'm
fun
hoping
day.
they
People
bring
coming
it
in.
to Canada this year. Like they
Yeah.
only bring it every year to a couple Canadian shops.
Mhm.
And last year they didn't bring it to Canada at all, other than to one place on the West Coast.
I have. Hold on 1 second. I think the glow in the dark is much more exciting than what they had last year. I have one here from the last year's colorways. There was like a kind of like a maroonish color, and then sort
Yeah,
of like
the
a teal.
berry.
That one, yeah.
I
Yeah.
really liked the berry.
The berry, yeah. I mean, they were nice. It's just I think, like in terms of like assembling something, the glow in the dark is really cool because
Yeah.
basically what it is like when you go in. I don't know if anyone has done this. Basically, so they have trays, and it has like you can take the finial like on the cap, and there's one machine that like
Pulls
compacts
the
like presses it together,
Yeah.
and then what you don't do I have it here? I don't know. I want to find it to show it, but then the other part that gets like machined together is the nib unit. Is like if you think of like the Yovo or the Bach, you know, those like nib units have like a threading on the bottom. These don't. They have almost like a lip on the base of them.
Oh.
And so what happens is like you put the nib in like a little jig, and then you like put what the section is going to be on top of it, and then there's you pull the crank, and then something comes down and just presses them together. So that's why you can't like unscrew from a sport the nib, because for some reason they insist on making the housing like friction fit into it, and then like and you can't separate it. So it's cool. It's cool to do that, and you get to pick the nib size. You can finagle the nibs out of the housing. I mean, you could swap things that way, but if you ever try to unscrew it out, or like it just doesn't work. And so it's cool.
Yeah. They were the first pen I figured out how to pull nibs and feeds on.
Yeah. I mean, that process is really simple if you have like bike tube or cabinet liner, like just to be able to just like rock things back and forth. So,
All right. Can I ask, since we've been talking about attending a show and doing nibs, so what has been the weirdest and or most elaborate grind someone asked you to do? Something out of ordinary. that is memorable. How crazy
Out of the
people.
ordinary, memorable. So I have a customer who has very, very high-end vintage pens that he writes with. And so I will be handed like a Mont Blanc number 3 from like 1932. And that one we didn't grind, I don't think, but we fixed the nib, and it was like basically what happens is, we're talking about vintage pens. Sometimes I have a nib model handy for this, right? So sometimes what happens is, right, like gold is over time maybe pressing down and your feed is pressing up. So if the gold is a little soft, you might look at a vintage pen and like over here you have like a little hump, right?
Oh, okay.
So all I really did for this thing was I used some heat, like a heat gun, just to like get the ebonite to kind of sort of, I don't even know what the word, not elongate, but like to remove, it was like kind of pressing up at the front. So just to like get that to flatten out a little bit, right? And then we tried writing this thing. It was like, I've never written with any pen like that ever.
Wow.
I can remember it from like 3 years ago. So, and it's like red hard rubber or red celluloid or like the orange, like it's like a super rare pen. And it was just like, there with a heat gun, like doing it. And then all of a sudden it just like, it straightened out, like that hump disappeared. And it was just like when I tell you, it was like, like it was like I was on like another plane of existence. I don't know how else to explain it.
That's what
I've heard, though. Sorry.
I've heard that that's one of the kind of ways of people advocating for ebonite feeds. It's just kind of that sort of particular way of fixing stuff with them. So
although you can do it with an injection molded feed. It just works a little differently. And I'm about to say probably no one's going to want to do this, but let's say you had like, sometimes let's say you had a Visconti and it looked like there was like too much space between the nib and the feed, right? Not saying that ever happens, but let's just assume it does, right? So what you can do is you boil water and you submerge like the feed and the nib. Usually I do it in the pen in the boiling water for like 30 to 40 seconds. And then you take it out and, I usually try to protect my bare fingers from this, but, and you kind of just press it together and then it'll cool and harden and hopefully it fixes that. So not many people like to do that, but that is the method that I use for injection molded plastic. And if you see me at a show, I actually have like a heating thing, like it's like a portable water boiling thing. It's like a metal coil. You put it in, like, it clips onto the side of a mug. I bring that with me to shows for this reason. So
you're a complete artisan.
Thank you. But think about, I once had a conversation with someone who's a very skilled, not the person who trained me, but another master of pen repair, told me one time that he was the one that told me I needed to get this and bring it to shows, because his point was like, you have like I'll back up. Customer came to me. I looked at the pen. There was nothing to do with the nib. The nib was fine. And it was at a point where like, I didn't like think to take this thing apart and start messing with the feed. So I said, hey, take this over to so-and-so. He can like go deeper into this beyond the nib, because I'm not like set up to do that with you right now, which was true. I just didn't have the stuff, and like it was, going to be a little more involved. Anyway, this woman had this pen for 20 years and it never wrote, right? And she assumed it was a problem with the nib. Well, it wasn't a problem with the nib. It was a problem with the feed, because it was like going back to that period where people made pens, they didn't care if they wrote, they just sold them. It was one of these situations. So what happened was, he came over to me, this was at the Baltimore show, and he was like, look, I want to give you some advice. I'm like, lay it on me, so-and-so. And so he's like, there's 3 things you should do to be ready to work on feeds like this. One is, and he gave me like advice on how to like clean oil out of feeds. 2 is get the water boiling thing so that you can heat set a feed at a show. And the 3rd thing, and it's down where I actually do the work, I could show it to you. So let me get these micro saws so that I can like saw out the bottom of your feed, which I do. Like, I don't remember exactly. I know I've done it recently. So, like, if someone comes to me with a pen and it's not writing, and I look at the feed, I may actually take out the saw and like saw out material from the channel because it needs to be squared off. Another thing we talked about in this conversation. And this saw allows you to do that. Because if it's too triangular or it's not even, your flow is not going to be correct. So, I only giving you this story just so you like, because you're saying artisan, and it reminded me that like artisanship is like not just like you figuring things out. It's like partially like your apprenticeship and like working with other people and like being in a community of people of like like-minded skills. Like if you even think of like the guilds from like the Renaissance or something like that. So, and so we teach each other or we learn from each other things. Like I think that's like we're like a lot of the knit people actually like we go out to dinner with each other and like
You
talk
share.
together. It's not like war.
Not a
Who's
competition.
better.
It gets more clientele.
Yeah, I mean, I did win the Nib Wars. I did win that, but that's
I
not our
remember that.
day-to-day
I was
existence.
there.
Yes, you
I
were there.
want
That's
them
why
to-
I mentioned it. You made
I want
art
them to
for it,
bring
which was really
back
awesome.
Nib Wars so badly
Oh, I have to
because
say,
I think it's such an interesting skills demonstration. Not because like it I go to a pen show, I get nib work done by anyone who's free. I'm never organized enough to book an appointment in advance. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
I never book an appointment in advance. I'm like, here's my pens. I'll be back Sunday. Let me know if you don't have time to do them. Like, that is how I do my nib work these days, for the most part. Other than you, who at Empire told me ahead of time, you will not have time to book an appointment, Simu, before the show.
Yeah.
Which is the other way I get nib work done these days. But I love...
I'm a big believer about early appointments, by the way. It's a great time.
It is.
So,
well, it's also
if you're not, I would say to the public, if you're not seeing appointments like on my thing, feel free to reach out to me and we could talk about whether you can get in pre-show hours.
oh,
Yeah.
Also,
that's
part of
good
the
to know.
piracy thing is we don't subscribe to the
Great to
schedule.
know. That's for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
like, it is... We shot that video at the very end of the day. The difference in like how engaged I was getting a nib grind at the very end of a day versus how engaged I am getting a nib grind at 9 a.m. in the morning are two different people.
Are you saying it was... Which one did you said was better? Or which one are you happier with? I don't know if there's a better. Do you like Alexandra at 9 a.m. or Alexandra at 5:30 p.m.?
I think Alexandra at 9 a.m. Is probably a smarter decision maker because, as somebody said earlier, has the squeaky nib been fixed?
Oh, that
Because
one.
as soon as I got home and used it again, it was squeaking again. And I meant to DM you. And then Winter kicked my ass and I didn't DM you. So
And now we're dealing with it publicly, even better.
Boom.
no, we're not, because I'm just saying it out loud so that
All right.
I remember that I have to deal with
Seems
it.
kind of public.
But like, sorry, 9 a.m.
No, let's go.
Alexandra like properly tests the nib. 5:30 p.m. Alexandra goes, yeah, whatever.
All right. Well, it sounds like we might need some boiling water, and we'll do it. We'll get together and figure it out.
We'll do it over Zoom.
Oh yeah, we could do that. That would
I have to say,
There was no coffee. Oh, was there coffee at Philly? No, the hotel did.
No.
God.
They raised the rates
What
and had no
hotel?
coffee. It was a
No.
Shonda and a half. For those who speak Yiddish.
Yeah, no, Mom and I weren't staying at that hotel though. We did have a coffee bar in our hotel, but we had to get coffee before we left, and so by the time I got to like 10 a.m., my coffee was gone.
yeah.
They have a Starbucks in there.
About the Jedi level of meistership, let's say, when I was working with Tasha, I remember there were a couple of issues that sometimes Shujin will have, like changing nibs or fixing whatever. And she's like, oh, I need Josh. And it's like she will run to you. And I would say, imagine this big brand company calling Josh or going to Josh to get fixed the nib.
I mean, yeah. I think that, it's interesting you say that. That's like a whole other topic, which is because I want to come back to the Nib Wars comment in a second, because I have a few observations about that. But a lot of the companies, like, we think of them as big because you can get the pens everywhere, but they're not like a lot of people. It's not like, like the Ford plant or something that. We're talking like
guys,
a handful of people.
It's
so
a niche thing that we're into.
yeah.
Just breaking news.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nib Wars. All right. So the thing that was interesting about Nib Wars was the way they did it was they gave us these prompts. And I've said this before. They gave us these prompts and they would often say, like, make the nib you would use to write a love letter, right? Make the nib that you want, right? So what's interesting about that, right, is like this is all so subjective.
It's so open-ended.
And then what would happen is you would get a score based on what the judges, and there was like 3 or 4 of them, thought of what you did. And to me, there was like a little, and obviously we had no opportunity to like discuss this ahead of time, but like to me it was like a little bit of a mismatch, right? To like, because a lot of the judging was just like whether they liked it or not, as opposed to like technical criteria. Like, I'm looking at it through a loop and I can see all the machine marks. Or, I'm looking at it and you left a burr on the upper cut on the top of the tip, like, so it was like, to me, I don't know if I'd want to be judged on certain things, but, it just was like, it was interesting. And so like, I had the highest score at the end because it was like every round you got a score, but I couldn't tell you if I could repeat that based on who's the judges, and not for like political reasons, just preferences, Yeah. So, technically we may have all been equal, right? Like, it's entirely possible that everyone technically was the best they could have been. I don't know if that's true, by the way, but let's just assume it was. That may not have mattered because like there was this subjective layer to it that was sort of like, well, I like this too, or I think this is cool, and and to be candid, like, one thing I noticed was like the people who were like doing nibs that like flipped over were getting a little more traction. So I was like, all right, I'll just start doing reversible nibs, and it like, and so they're like, oh, what would you use to write a love letter? A reversible nib. Of course I would write a love letter with so, and it's like, so like those things are going on. So it's like, I guess that it happens in any competition, but it's funny to me. Like if we were due it again, one, I don't know if I would want to agree to participate because I've already won and I only can go down from here. 2 is
the title. You have
like
to
this
defend the title.
suggestion that you should become the last winner should become
not the
next
judge. No, the commentator.
Oh, I
like,
agree on that.
Like that.
Like at the Olympics, it's like all the previous like winners
Yes.
get to talk about like, oh yes, look at that
Josh,
triple axle. It's great.
You should host the event.
Yeah.
I will say
that's what it is.
It was for the people that were like the audience. I was at the audience. It was entertaining. And seeing you work against the clock, because imagine working at that speed to get a nib running and going so fast. It was entertaining for everybody to see. Kat was hosting at that time, Catherine. And for me, it was fun.
It was like, it felt like a big party. I've never been to a pen event like that where it felt like everyone was like having a party together. They should have, like, it would be cool to do it again and probably make it even bigger, but it had a great atmosphere. That is for sure.
It was only for VIPs.
Yeah, you had to. It wasn't VIPs. I think I think they had invited VIPs. Like you had done art for the event,
Yeah,
and
I
then
did
after it,
the artwork
but
at that
you had
day.
to register just because the space was limited because it was in that like
Exactly.
lounge.
It was registered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, did we get off track? I apologize.
Nah,
As you
don't
can
worry.
see,
We
Okay.
totally did, but it was fun. And I liked this comment, which was in reference to your like the sharing of knowledge, which is closely guarded
Yeah.
secrets get lost to time,
Mhm.
shared knowledge lives
Yeah.
forever.
yeah, that is a great way to put it. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, like that, and a lot of professions have that aspect, right? Like I can tell you in my legal life, like another dying art that I'm a part of is trial work. Like there's just not as many trials there used to be. If you were like a litigator back in the 1960s, you might be trying a case every month.
Mhm.
Like not many lawyers do that anymore. So like one thing I really have had the opportunity to do that I really love is just I've been able to work with really like experienced trial attorneys that come from that era to be able to get like their different, and they're all different takes, like much in the way people do nibs differently. People have different approaches, and so you do get that knowledge coming forever. I mean, that is, isn't there like in Catholicism like that idea that like every priest goes back to St. Peter or something like that? I mean, that's like a concept. I'm not Catholic, but I always identify with that idea because it's like, with these types of things, again, like Carrie's use of the word artisan, like it does travel, like you can
You're
trace it back.
on to something. So my husband teaches physics, and so in academia, when you're at that level in physics, they have sort of like a tree, and he's like directly where specific physicist was before him.
Yeah.
And that is such a it's such a striking thing to see, that
Yeah.
kind of tree of knowledge.
Yeah. No, I mean that is I think the essence of all these very like anything that's like, I mean, but you could say that about anything, right? Like I'm thinking about like any sort of job where people do it for a long time. Obviously something that you do for a couple of years and then move on to the next thing, not really going to be part of it. But anything that anyone invests in, right? Like there's like my wife works for a clothing company. One of the founders of the company, he worked for Ralph Lauren. So he like makes shirts now, but he started his career working for Ralph Lauren. And Ralph Lauren started, and then my wife worked at Gap at one point, and the guy who ran Gap had been in like, then it went on to run J. Crew. So like, there is like everything like this has these trees. It's more pronounced, I guess, when it's like a smaller group,
Yeah. At its core, though, the pen world is so niche and gets even more niche when we break into very specific vintage pens.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say to all of you with the nibs, right? Like I've for years have thought this way. So there's like the Japanese kind of heritage of nib work, which is basically flows from John Monoshaw, and I may be completely wrong about this. It's just totally anecdotal. Mike Matsuyama and John Monoshaw followed like kind of like this Japanese methodology for nib work. And you see it in how they set up their equipment. Nagahara, same thing, because they all came from Sailor, right? And so then you have the people that were trained or learned from the Japanese nib masters, right? And I know John Monashaw's not Japanese, but I just mean style-wise, right?
Yeah.
So then if you go around a show where there's a lot of nib people, you'll see like Gina, Matthew Chen. They come from, I'm not going to call it a school, but they come from that way of working, right?
Yeah.
I'm from like the Richard Binder school, and the way Richard Binder did this was he just looked at vintage nibs and figured out ways to kind of mimic the shapes of the stub and the cursive italic and how you would make a very fine nib and like different things like that. So, so I was taught in like that school where like we're working on like a different like methodology. And then there's the people that are sort of self-taught or like a hybrid of the things, and so you see that they do some things from one, some things from the other, because they kind of went, trial and error and things of that nature. So there is sort of like not a defined, but like there is, if you pay attention, like you'll kind of see that like anyone who trained with Richard Binder is going to have like the Dremel on an angle, right? Like on a stand.
Yes.
And anyone who's like from Madashaw and Matsuyama is like kind of orbit. They have like a kind of like a horizontal like lathe type thing spinning, and like Matt Chen's a little different than Gina's, but it's all sort of the same thing. What's his face?
Damien?
Damien, I don't know if Damien went to anyone specifically or kind of developed some of his own
like
stuff.
Damien and Kirk sort of remind like,
and CY, frankly, are the three of them are sort of doing their own
like
thing.
Watching them work, every time I watch any of the three of them work, I'm like, all of you work differently.
Yeah, and then there is Annabelle, who's a jewelry,
Yeah. Annabelle. Yeah.
Completely.
But like Damien adopted, like Annabelle works where she has a microscope type thing.
Yes.
And so she works down here, but she's looking up here, which is probably better ergonomically. And Damien started doing that. So he adopted it. Mark Bacchus is who also I think is sort of in the Matsuyama I don't want to say school, but it is kind of like that, sort of in the old way.
What about Matthew? Matthew is different too.
No, Matthew is like in the Japanese world.
Oh,
yeah, and I know he's gotten advice at least from Nagahara.
Okay.
And but yeah, I mean, we're all sort of looking to the same end, right? But it's just how you get there is a little different, and the final product is a little different. So
that's why you should get your nibs with different people.
Exactly.
Right?
But and that's the other reason we're all friends, is because it's not like we're all like, all of a sudden like this person is like, oh, they're Lax got that guy, he's off the market type of thing. Like people want to try different people, and there's so much demand. Like how could anyone sit there and be like, I gotta smoke all this competition if I'm going to make it here? Like that's not necessary or even helpful. So
yeah, some of the people I know, they book with everybody and they sit in the morning with one and then go mid-afternoon with another one, and then the next day with other two. Yeah.
And also everyone has different specialty grinds. And I know people that collect the different specialty grinds from everyone. And like there's so many different ways you can try out different people and figure out who you work really well with. Because like it's not a guarantee that you're going to work really well with everyone. It's a very personal experience for how a pen works with your hand. And there are definitely grinds that I like a lot more than others, ignoring this pilot nib because again, I was overtired and it was.
Well, we'll get it sorted out. What probably is happening is there's either a little bit of space between the nib and the feed, and that's making this like vibration sound, or there's just like a little something we missed when you were trying it out, and I just need to like tweak it off, and it'll be good. So
there could be space between the nib and the feed. That might be our issue, but like there are definitely other nibs that I'm like, I use this nib less often. The nib grind experience was less pleasant and more stressful, and I'd rather go to other people.
Yeah.
It happens. Whereas the Shone that you did is lovely, and I use it all the time.
There you go.
9 a.m., 5 p.m. I don't make good pen decisions at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, I'm sorry, by the way, something's printing in my office, and I don't know why. There's just like a mystery print job happening.
When you were talking about boiling water, my husband decided to boil water here in the kitchen.
Oh, really?
It was like the noise, and you were talking about boiling water, and I mute my microphone. The water was boiling, no kidding, next to me.
Somebody wants to know.
Are you heat setting feeds?
Maybe
for you.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to know if there's any chance of you going to the Atlas Sidewalk Sale or the Chicago Pen Show.
So Chicago's what, at the end of April?
End of April, first week of May.
Yeah,
like
I mean, yeah. So some things I would love to do the Atlas sidewalk sale if they'll have me. I don't know if they have. I mean, I don't know if they have space because like Kirk and Matt do it every year, and like I don't know, like with them there, like I don't know if
There
I
is
can
space for
fit
one
in.
more.
Oh, all right, all right.
I don't
Well,
know.
if you're watching, Brendan,
Maybe.
you know where to
No.
find me.
I don't
No.
think so, but
All right.
if
Well,
they have it,
yeah. No, I would like to do that. The Chicago show, I just have never. It just. I guess I'll explain it this way. The best way to put it is, for some reason, years ago, I see. Thank you, April 3rd, 30th to May 3rd. A lot of this used to depend on my old, like when I worked for the city of New York and I would do trials, what like kind of the rhythm of things were. So like for some reason, like always early November was a tough time for me. Late May, early April always was issues. So, and then, with the kids getting out of school, like, so, like I have to like balance a bunch of stuff, or in the past, I maybe had to balance things a little differently. So that's why it's like some shows I just have been doing forever, and it sort of like fits in with everything. And like Atlanta is like a new thing. Yes, maybe one day I will do the Chicago show. I just haven't like gotten to it, but I like I would love to do the Atlas event. It looks like a lot of fun. Who doesn't love pens outside?
It's very stressful.
You've been there several times.
I've only been once, but I went for both days, and from like the vendor side, it's stressful.
How about having your Namiki Emperor right out there, huh?
When is Atlanta? Is it this weekend? No,
Atlanta is like the 28th, 27th to 28th or something, 27th to 29th. So we'll give it. I think it's a smaller show. Like it's smaller than Baltimore, is my understanding. But I'm excited. It'll be cool.
There's also the Atlas Holiday Expo in December.
All of this, I would say to everyone, it's like, write your congressperson, write your vendor, and be like, that Josh Lax seems awesome. He did 2 hours on Desk Chatter, just totally dynamic. And,
apparently last year they were making, last year they were making nib appointments shorter to try and get more people in. So,
all right. That sounds like there's demand.
One more nib person.
Sounds like there's demand.
All right.
All right.
I mean, I guess there's still time if they have space. Like I can make it happen this year. Get text Brendan right now. Can we get him the link and he'll just come on and we'll browbeat him into it publicly?
Let's talk about it.
No, I don't know. It's fine. No, I would as long as the dates and everything work. So I would be into it. I'm not discriminating against Chicago. Chicago's a great city.
I love
and you deserve to have proper nib services at least once a year. So in addition to what you have already. You deserve to have me come. Sorry, I didn't mean. I'm not trying to put anyone down. Like I really like. You guys deserve to get. You should get the same love that LA. No, you deserve. If LA is getting a lot of attention, Chicago deserves it even more.
All right,
I'll put it that way. That's what I really meant to say.
I
don't do LA either because that's always a conflict as well. But I have, and I may have gotten COVID before COVID really started. Like I have one of those mystery sicknesses where they're like, "Don't worry, you weren't in China. It's not COVID, man. Don't worry." And it's like, really? Because everything I'm experiencing sounds like COVID. And they're like, no. Were you in Wuhan? No. Did you encounter anyone who's been in Wuhan? No. Then you don't have COVID. I totally had COVID. Totally got it. And I got it. I was on the plane back from the LA show 2020, dry coughing with a fever. Does that sound like that was like early stage COVID? I had the OG COVID. I had like these amazing antibodies. I didn't get COVID for 2 years. And I got it once and I never got it again. So I have like living off of the purest COVID you possibly can. Sorry, I don't mean to make light. I know like there was a lot of difficulties with it, but it was a whole crazy thing. So Anyway, February's tough for me to get out to LA, but I think Chicago's a better city than LA overall. It's growing on me a little bit, LA, but Chicago deserves more than LA. So for you Chicago people here, you deserve more than
You
LA.
need to
That's
go.
what I'm
And if
saying.
you haven't been to the Chicago Pen Show, I have to say it's fun.
Yeah, it sounds like I know a
really
lot of people go. So
Yeah.
It is it's hard to say if it's my favorite show now or not, because I really liked
Interesting.
Empire.
Hmm.
I liked
All right.
the only thing I didn't like about Empire was the lack of an after hours space.
Yeah.
But
So
I really liked the vibe and the layout of that pen show floor. And then I really like Chicago. Like, Chicago is consistently my favorite show that we go to every year.
interesting. All right, you're really Chicago.
You're selling
Sorry, I feel bad. I feel like I've been missing out. I'm having Chicago
You're
FOMO.
missing out.
I am.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the Empire show for like a hot minute. All right.
Yes,
No,
please.
I was like, this is like a real thing.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. So talking about the idea of like what was going on at night. So there was some conversations about trying to do off-site some sort of thing for people who were staying the whole weekend or were local, right? Because there's like there's a decent sized group of people in New York between the Big Apple Pen Club and kind of the stationery meetups, and the different stores have like, there's a store, it's a bookstore that has a stationery thing. They were doing meetups at one point. So yeah, so right, so someone's mentioning there's a heavy Chicago attendee crowd night, right? So there was talk of trying to figure out what to do in that regard. Like, could we have like an after hours type thing somewhere? Now, the challenge is myriad with this type of thing. One is obviously getting a space. And so like Midtown Manhattan to me is like the most challenging thing. Like Stationery Fest for your sake is happening in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Much easier in a certain way, to the point where like you could just have everyone go to like a beer garden, right? Like that's fairly close to the location of Stationery Fest. Not so with Empire Pen Show. But it would be cool if we could somehow get some sort of after show event going. But it's finding a venue that can accommodate the people, where you don't have to commit to like a $3,000 like food and beverage tab, and or like a raw space, and then having to bring everything in.
So that's the whole thing with the Toronto Pelican Hub. I don't know what our committed value is for the Toronto Pelican Hub, but I do know that there's a minimum per person spend for the event, which is I think $30 a person, which is easy to do if you're getting drinks and a snack.
Yeah.
At a bar in Toronto. And it's just a risk for whoever's organizing the event to take on.
Listen, I was about to say, how close is the New York event to Italy? Because they have a bar upstairs.
Yeah, but the thing is, if 50, 40, whatever, more than 20 people from the pen show descend on one of these places at the, at 6:30 on a Saturday night, like you will be told that you have to wait 3 hours to get in as a group, so like, and then to reserve it ahead of time has other things. I just want to address in the comments the East Coast West Coast beef that I inadvertently started. Like, we're all watching this, like we're all talking but reading, like, oh my god. Yes, I did just openly diss LA. I'm sorry if that offended you. But I'm not trying to get shot after the next divorce, so
the West the West Coast is so far for me to go.
I'm trying to make amends here, Alexandra, and you're just rubbing salt in the wounds,
My personal beef with LA is how much they have to drive, because we walk everywhere here. Like, you can do stuff.
Like, I would have loved to go to the LA show. The only direct flight was at 5:30 in the morning, which would have meant being at the airport at 1 a.m. because it's an international.
Yeah,
The
I
other
wish I can
option-
go to all the shows. And what is the most thing is that I always dream about going to LA because of the weather, because of all the things that we don't have here in Canada. So
Yeah.
take me to LA and I will go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, look, I mean,
That's-
so the LA show is, I haven't been because February is just a tough time because like my older son's birthday is usually the same weekend. But the people have good things to say about the new leadership. Before,
it's
like
the
when
same
I went,
team
it
as
sucked.
Empire.
Like, well,
It's-
yeah, it's the same people. Empire could use a couple more vendors. Like, I think it's gonna be busier next year. Like they're gonna try and fill more tables.
It sounds like it's going to be like it was very much. I feel like, and I have not talked to the team about this. My debrief with the team happened in the car on our way to the second hotel after our first flight was canceled, coming home.
And when you say team, you mean like Frank's people or like
Frank's
your?
So
Okay.
no, Mom's a corporate event planner.
Okay.
Like there was a reason other than the fact that I was to stand behind a booth and sell pens, there was a reason we were brought in. And part of that reason was so that they could have some feedback on the show.
Yeah.
And like overall, they're doing it fairly well.
Yeah.
There are a couple things that need to be fixed, but like it's the first year of a show and there were no major issues.
Can I tell you one? It's a small thing, but can I tell? Does the crowd want to hear kind of a funny story? I don't know. I shouldn't even say if it's funny.
Yes.
Okay. So, I taught a nib smoothing class at 8 a.m. on the Sunday morning of the show. So I trucked in very early from New Jersey, got in very quickly. So I'm not complaining about that. But I needed to get into the show floor to get things like my nib models and stuff like that were sitting at the table. Now, when I do these nib classes, particularly like at an 8 a.m. before like the main event, like we got to fit a lot into like 2.5 hours, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like there and like nobody's there. Like people are showing up to like take the class and like I need to get the goods from like the room and it's like there's like nobody had come from the show organizers, right? And I like these people, so I'm not trying to like diss them anyway.
So
this is like funny how it went.
For future reference, this is when you text me.
I was like not thinking like, oh, this is an Alexandra problem.
This is when you text me.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're gonna leave it at that, and I will explain off camera why you text me.
Okay. Well, let me explain to the crowd how I did solve this problem. So many people will no doubt have watched like an action movie in their life where like the main character sort of just like walks through like the backs of hotels operations just like with complete confidence that they belong there, right? So that's how I solved this problem. I found an open hallway that like was like the service area for the special events floor we were on, and just walked through this thing like I somehow belong there. You know, I walked past a room of all these maintenance guys just like sitting there chatting at like 7:55 in the morning, and I just was like it was like, yeah. Then guess what I found at the end of this hallway? Despite all the security and everything, there was an open door that I just walked through into the show floor, and I was like, great. Problem solved. It's all about the confidence. That's what I learned.
For future reference, this is what you just call me.
I don't know if that was really like an option. Were you in that hotel? Like, I was like, and you had a key to the ballroom.
No, we're not having this conversation on camera, but for future
weird that you won't answer that question. It makes it weirder that you're not answering that question. Like you secretly had a key. Ooh, your mom's an event planner. So mysterious. Like
I had one of the
Sorry, don't answer it if you don't want. I'm not trying to browbeat you into answering, even though it's one of my skills.
I had one of the 6 master keys.
You hear that, crowd? Light up the comments. She had one of the 6.
If people got locked out.
Oh my god.
If people got locked
out,
I could
have to walk in like the owner.
Why did you have one of them? Why?
Because other people got locked out. Frank gave me the key, and other people on the team got
people,
locked
I'm
out and
going.
needed into the space, and so I had a key card.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
Now you know.
there were other vendors.
But there's no guarantee you'll have it next year. That's what you're telling us.
There's no guarantee I'm at the show next year.
All right.
Let's
Yeah,
be
based on
clear.
that. I don't know. That wasn't that big of a reveal. I mean, it just shows your importance that you had one of the 6 master keys, you know. Just,
Yeah. No,
just
it's
what other
kicking
shows do
around
they
here
secretly
somewhere,
let you
but-
control entry to?
Yes.
Do you have any other secret? Do you have any other secret show connections where you're like actually going in late at night, like checking out the pens, like at 1 a.m. with your friends? You're like, guys, I got a key, and they're all like drinking. They're like, hey, let's open it up, let's go.
Like a
So
night
like,
at the
they
museum.
open up the door. They like knock into like some table, like all the Santini pens are on the ground, and they're just giggling. That's
Like
like
you're
that's the
already
Alexandra
creating a
that no one
script.
knows that we just
No.
learned about.
For a
The only
movie.
thing I had, so we had, were you ever in the like meeting room that we had?
No, that I was never invited to the meeting
Okay,
room. As I
so-
said, I had to walk through the hallways
So
alone.
there was a meeting room because something that happens at most pen shows is that people have to count their cash on the show floor.
Okay.
And so the main reason I had a key was so that people, no one got locked out of the space who needed into the space, and 2, that when people needed to go count their money, they could just send me with who needed to go count their money, and
In the meeting room.
In the meeting room, and no one essentially was missing from the show floor.
hmm And then
At one point, I had borrowed pens from people with their permission, and I used the meeting room to film content. With Frank's
this is all
permission.
earth-shattering. I can't even
Yeah.
tell you. I mean, I'm so floored by all this.
And the
Sounds
pen,
great. It sounds like you have a great thing you got there.
the pen I borrowed was a pen that the company wouldn't sell to me at DC, and a YouTube member brought to me at the show, so that I could use it.
You must name names. No. So I don't know. I don't know. Carrie, Marina, are you blown away by this? Like, you know,
I mean-
chat, are you
That's
Are you
a
suddenly-
big
offended?
yeah.
You totally just Alexandra's secret life.
It's an Alexandra solution. I am a problem
Yeah.
solver.
Yeah.
I am a
Just
problem solver.
Like Alexandra's room is just like filled with like pen flush and like all these, you know, like
these
rubber
keys.
gloves, like all these things. It just makes problems disappear.
Yes.
It's like Amodex, you know. Just
What I feel like it's so funny, just imagining you coming and looking and then just walking like you own everything. But
I wish I got the security footage. I'm sorry. I wish we could play it for everyone right now.
I want to
was
see
impressive.
that. That's the only thing I want to see.
I taught Tom Cruise everything he knows.
I'm going in.
You know, Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan, they all would have been proud, you know.
Yes.
They're just it's all about it's like a posture thing that you just kind of like move through, and you don't really stop, you know, you don't waver.
Yeah.
No.
If you
With
waver,
one
they
of-
know that you're not
Yes.
belonging there.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He's looked like that. He looked perfect. Like that. Look at
Exactly.
that posture. He belongs here.
Yeah.
So
With one of
I
your
solved it.
beautiful kind of fashionable outfits. Dun.
I was wearing a t-shirt and like, oh no, I had like a shorts. I had like shorts. Like we could find a picture. I was like a plaid shirt, a t-shirt, and shorts.
I'm
like
sure
there
you're
was
in
nothing
You
elegant about
totally
this.
own this
Video.
place then.
But next time I will bring like a 3-piece suit just
Yeah,
to
yeah,
change
that's
into
it.
before this, in
Mm.
case I find
Like a
myself locked
lawyer
out.
style.
And Alexandra's not picking up. She has one of the master keys. Got to sneak in. Got to put on the sneaking
yeah.
suit. Hold on, team. I'm going to change in front of you because I can't get into any other room. And I'm
Yeah.
going to sneak in. So,
So
Plus the fedora.
because we're calling people out, apparently Brendan has emailed you and DM'd you
we get
on
back.
Discord.
But here's the okay. I will get in touch with Brendan. I feel bad, but here's the key. And I wish I could like draw on the screen. It's Discord, right? I mentioned my previous
It
problems
says-
with Discord.
Emailed and Discord.
I don't have an
Wow.
email from him. Maybe I'll find out. We'll get to the bottom of this. Rest assured, Chicago, you will be vindicated.
And you'll have
And
your suit
Brendan. Yeah, maybe he's thinking the wrong Josh. That could be. He's like, oh yeah, I emailed Josh, but it's like a totally different Josh. Some other Josh.
There are not many Josh in the pen community that I know. So
True.
yeah.
All right.
Sure. So it probably is me. I probably missed his email.
We
So-
are approaching 2 hours and we have one last question. And I sort of feel like this question's going to take us a while to answer.
I was
Alright,
going to
go
say, is
Let's
it one
do
question
it.
in
Let's
several
do it.
parts?
It is one question in several parts, unfortunately.
There you go. All right.
If you are new to vintage and at a pen show, auction, estate sale, antique sale, etc., what should I look for / keep away from?
All right, everyone. Does we need an intermission? Because we're going to hour 3.5. Like that's
Yeah, let's
can't
do
believe you
it.
asked that question as like the big wrap up. No, all right. No, this is a good question.
It's an
I'm trying to think
excellent
what I
question.
have. I could just like hold up to.
I
the
have
screen
many
here.
Parkers. Do you want me to hold up many Parkers?
No. Just.
I'm on vacation. I don't have many vintage pens.
Here's
Yeah,
3
yeah, no,
vintage
it's cool.
Parkers.
I usually have like.
Or
like
maybe
now
I
need
have some.
one, and it,
My
like,
husband has some.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna go. Forget about the props. Okay. So
See your next video
think-
for the answer.
yeah. There's just like a big to be continued pops up. No, it's actually more straightforward. So basically, I would say to you, you want to look for a few important things. One is obviously that there's no cracks on the pen. You may not care about that ultimately. We'll come back to why in a second, but you want to look at the cracks. You want to see if like there's a clip that broke off that should be there, right? Because there might be a hole in the cap where the clip should be somehow connected, or there's just like pieces of metal sticking out. So these are some of the obvious things, right? Now, what I would say to you is one thing that you want to do is you want to just open the pen and look at the nib. Why is that? Well, if the nib is disintegrated or broken and there's no tipping, like you're not like you shouldn't buy it unless you really like the rest of the pen is just amazing and it's just the nib needs to be replaced, right? Kind of need that nib working. You want to look over it and see if you can tell how the pen fills. I mean, usually it's pretty obvious. Like if there's a lever filler, there will be a lever. There may be some twist thingy, but all of this is to say that, you want to look at it and see just like if it's clearly damaged. But I guess depending on where you're buying it also and what the price is may also impact why or why not some of these things might matter. So let me give you an example. If you're at an estate sale and there's just a pile of pens and the pen is going to cost $3, if the nib is okay and the pen is all scratched up, do you care that it's scratched up for $3 when it could be polished or something? And you just, improve it in some way. Whereas if you were at a pen show and there's like a premium being charged because it's at a pen show, things are going to look a lot differently. To me, the big thing is as long as the pen fits together, like the cap and the body mate properly, and it looks like it has a working nib, and it doesn't look like chewed up or cracked or beat up, like to the point where you can't like polish these things out. Yeah, I mean, I see someone in the chat, right? Like you can't lose if it's $3 and it's a gold nib, even if it's a steel nib, right? Like let's say if it's a Parker 45 with a steel nib, right? And it just, those tend to sometimes be scratched up because they were thrown in drawers or whatever. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with the pen. For $3, you can get like a sunshine cloth and some like polish and just kind of just work the scratches out for the most part.
Polywatch is an
but that
amazing
wouldn't be acceptable to you at $50 at a pen show or an antique store, where sometimes antique stores just price things because it seems like it might be priced that way based on like some limited knowledge, right? So to me, though, the big things that I look for is that the cap and the body fit together, because like, I'm looking for the things that are going to really make this like a losing experience. So cap not fitting together, nib potentially not working, or not having tipping. If you look at the nib, like sometimes you can tell that the gold is deteriorating and you really should not maybe mess with it. But again, if the price is right, take a chance. I don't know. Does that answer the question? I'm not sure if I fully got it.
I think so. So I recently bought 7 vintage pens at auction.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to look at them before?
I did. So I
Okay.
went for preview day. I took my loop. I knew what I was buying, and I knew that 2 of the 5 needed repair, and it was more repair than what I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
Because my rule when buying vintage these days is I have to be able to repair it myself. I am spending too much in vintage pen repairs right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what I thought I was buying was not what I was actually buying. I ended up thinking I was buying 45s, but when I looked at them more closely, I realized they were Parker 19s, which is fine. Actually,
Yeah.
it's probably better because they were around for a lot less time. But there is one of the pens that also I got all of them for $65 Canadian plus a 5% auction fee. So like
Okay. So like $3 Canadian, something.
something like that.
Yeah.
I
All
think
right.
I think all in it was
$68
like,
Canadian all in. Sounds great. Keep going. This is a
one
good
of
example.
them is this is of the 45. It's got a gold nib. The gold nib looks really screwed up.
Mhm.
Like the tines
But
are
it's really a
split.
stub.
I think it is. I also think it's not fully set in the nib. Like
Mhm.
Okay.
when I look at it compared to other 45 nibs, it doesn't sit properly. And
Is
so
it
what
an
I'm gonna
oblique? It looks kind of like an oblique.
it's
And
labeled as a medium, so we're gonna have a fun adventure on camera
Ooh.
figuring
Yeah,
out what
but
it actually is. But
but
like,
let's just pause on that for 1 second,
yeah,
right? Because things like understand, right? Like everyone should understand that even if things are labeled, you still have to look because it's possible like the labeling for a 45 is on the feed, but
mm-hmm.
any one of us can slide a nib out from a bad feed and put it in a new feed, regardless if it's labeled medium or whatever the code was for oblique. So, it's totally possible. Or, when they shipped it from the factory, the guy's like, "Oh, we don't have any coded nibs for an oblique. We don't have any feed, like collars.
Yeah.
Just put it in a medium and send it. No one's gonna care." Like that stuff happens. So,
It does. And so that's when I go into buying vintage, I try to buy stuff that when I look at it, I go, I have seen the parts for these pens before.
yeah.
45s, 21s, I see parts for them all the time at pen shows. I know that I will be able to buy my own replacement parts. And over the years, I have figured out how to tear them down completely and put them back together.
Yeah.
There are other pens that I can't do that with. And so as much as I like them, like I have a celluloid Osmoroid that came in the lot, but the celluloid is cracked and disintegrating.
Mhm.
And so the nib is going to come out of that pen at some point. It's going to go to somebody, and I'm going to ask them to franken it into a different pen.
Or you'll find a pen that needs a nib like that. At some point you'll find it'll just happen randomly. Not to shamelessly promote myself, but I have on my YouTube channel, I went to this antique fair called Brimfield, and I bought just a bunch of random pens and pencils as I moved around. And I talk about there kind of like things that I like saw and things that I like wouldn't buy, and then the things that I did buy. It's just, and I offer that up just as like a sort of a visual aid to like the things that I care about and the things that I don't care about when I'm shopping like that. Because Brimfield is like a big open air market of antique dealers and folks. Some folks are like very cultivated in what they're selling, and other people are just emptying their garage onto tables essentially, and you can get all sorts of different stuff. So like I bought an Esterbrook that was in horrible shape for the nib for $10 because it was like a rare nib.
I got 3 Esterbrooks in this lot, and basically I was bidding on it for the Parkers. I love a vintage Parker.
Nothing wrong with a vintage Parker.
The funny thing is, all of these pens are from the same 18-month release period. And so clearly this was a pen person, because also all these pens were inked have dried ink in them. Like they are some of the worst cleaned pens I've ever purchased. But I am so excited.
That's easy to overcome.
No,
That's easy.
It is, but it's like also like the best feeling because so often when I come across a vintage pens, they're uninked, and that just makes me sad. Like
I once proposed the idea that like with some of these things, when you write with them, you're actually writing like it's like this is gonna sound stupid, and I know I've said a bunch of cheesy stuff, so why do I care? But it's like there's like you were having the same experience ostensibly with someone from 60 years ago, right? When you're using that pen, and like there's not much you can say that's true of. Even like, like the flavor of like vegetables like changes over time, and for obviously other factors, but like, the idea that like, there was a person who sat down with each one of those pens and wrote with it, 50 years ago, and then you clean them out, you fill them up with, let's say, Parker Quink or something, and you sit down and you write with them. Like, that's kind of an incredible thing when you think about it, because there's just not a lot that you can say. You can wear somebody's watch, but it's not the same as like the same tactile feeling that they would have had. You know, you could wear someone's shoes, but that, I don't know. Wasn't like it was,
things differently.
I don't know. Who's doing that, unless you're like a real vintage shoe fanatic.
They have empty Parker blue-black Quink converters in them. Or, sorry, cartridges in them.
Yeah.
And in turn, that's the only color of Parker I use. But also, I know what that color stains my fingers like because I have spilled enough of that ink on my hands that I am sure that's what all of these pens were inked with.
Yeah. And I mean, what if it was a family and that was like the family's pens and the kids sat down every night and did their homework with those pens and they just sat in a drawer and then they were cleaned out or something like that. I mean, it just, not to be like too like hippy dippy about the whole thing, but like there is like, you could approach it from that perspective, right? That like you're connecting with a total stranger in a way. Through this object. And sometimes you'll see people's names. Like I have a pen, I can get it out of the closet behind me. It says like to Bessie with love. That's it's engraved in like a vintage
similar
type
story font. One of our friends said in an episode before.
It's
so true.
And so I have no idea who Bessie is. It's a Schaefer snorkel. I assume it's all the original parts to go with that cap ring. But, like at some point, I and Bessie have a shared experience that we'll never connect on individually if, we're writing with it. And I'm not saying everyone needs to like, light candles and sit down and be like, we are going to commune now, Bessie. I'm not suggesting that, but you can look at it from a perspective, and sometimes you get like a new old stock nib, like Parker 51. You can find old stock nibs, right? You put it in a new and use Parker 51. You're having the experience someone had when they bought a brand new Parker 51 in the 50s.
My Parker Black Tassie I got for Christmas in 2024 is new old stock.
Yeah, and there you go.
Whoever owned it before me kept meticulous notes about the fact that it was new old stock, where they got it. Like it came with a page of notes.
Yeah.
And they never used it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just, you have things that come along like that, and you're just like, interesting. So again, this is, there's a lot of reasons to try out vintage pens and a lot of reasons to, kind of think, as something to augment your enjoyment of pens and paper, right? Because it just adds a different dimension. As Carrie said, like there's a different experience. I would say the same thing. I assume, Alexandra, you agree. So, and Marina, I don't know. Do you like vintage pens or?
I do. I'm very selective how many I have. I don't buy too many, but I have an engraved Schaefer that says Mary, and Mary has never used it. It's a beautiful.
Okay.
And I feel like that's the thing with these things, right? They're in pristine condition sometimes because someone treasured them. And they were in
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the last thing I'll say, we're probably getting really far afield. So there's a company that was based in, I think, Brooklyn called Duocraft.
Okay.
And there were these cheap crap pens, but they had flexible gold music nibs, the 3-time music nibs.
Wow.
So if you ever see a Duocraft, and you should
get
pay
it.
attention to the nib.
Okay,
They
eBay right
are
now.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're wild. I've gotten them. The pens are awful. Like, they are the worst quality vintage pens. And so I look at them and I say, why was something with such like an intensely manufactured, well-designed nib put in such a god-awful, disgusting, like the plastic, like even when it was new, it probably looked like cheap.
Were they just cheap pens for students at like Juilliard and stuff?
Maybe that was one thought, right? But maybe, and I don't know, I've never researched this, but maybe someone out there will or has or will. Maybe they were made because they were like like marketed as like gifts to people. So it was like, you got a music nib for, your grandson who was learning the piano, or something like that. I don't know. I was trying to think, why would it be done this way? Because it's such a superior, right? Because if you think of a musician or a composer, right, they write a lot. Like, it's not like, little couple notes here. Like, there's a whole ton of notes that have to be written into the music. So the pen has to be good. Why is the pen not better if it was made for a real tool like that?
Yeah.
So it's a mystery that I've never really endeavored to solve. I've only speculated about it. And I'm just saying that, like, these things are out there, and I know other, like, mentioning Paul Arano and some of the people like he hangs out with, they get into things like this. They try to figure out, why did this happen this way? And so there's a aspect of vintage pens that you can get into that way as well.
The conversations I've had with Paul about vintage pens have always been amazing.
Like, you need to start smoking cigars at the shows, and you'll be.
I have enough
endless.
issues without smoking cigars.
Yeah, you're all invited to smoke cigars, by the way. It's not just Alexandra. Anyone here in the watching in the future, there's a lot of cigar smoking, a lot of pen talk,
and a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, they drink. They drink a lot. Some of those guys.
Yeah.
I will say, did anyone see the new cigar Benu? Like, the Perfecto?
Oh, no.
I kind of dig it. It's just, it's like $250 for that, plus like whatever the tariffs are. It's like hard. And like, I don't know who that guy is that they designed it with.
I don't know. I don't know who he is
reviews.
But I saw it and I thought, that's a decision.
Someone else.
I mean, maybe instead of smoking cigar, you bring the Benu cigar and fake the smoking.
There was, I think, a Visconti or Montegrappa that had like really cigar. It was a Montegrappa.
Montegrappa had a Cohiba pen.
Oh,
they
did years ago.
No, somebody did one recently. Who did one recently? Was it Delta or Diplomat? It was Diplomat.
Oh,
Diplomat.
Ooh.
Did 4 versions, I want to say, of
really.
Yeah, Diplomat has a cigar shaped pen. They did
cigar shaped or a cigar looking pen, like it looks like a
no
cigar.
no it looks like a cigar, because there was, my concern was that it was going to get stopped by customs because it was also coming in a display box.
Oh,
so you had one of these?
No, I was on Yost's show with the president, I think, of Diplomat, and he was talking about it. And my only thought was, this is going to get
the XO.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there was a Montegrappa that looked like it was like a replica of a Cohiba. Yeah. Like, it had the label and it was like, it looked like a
it was impressive. I was impressed.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. The So yeah, you could bring a fake cigar pen and just kind of. Well, you were filming 20 questions last year,
Yes.
adjacent to cigar time.
I hold court in the hallway. You
Yeah,
come
outside.
you come
And we're
to the
outside
hallway.
smoking and
You
blowing smoke.
offer
in
mom
your
a
direction.
scotch. Mom disappears. I steal somebody else to be my camera person.
You
Eventually, I
definitely
get
gave
my
your
mother
mom
back.
drinks. Yeah. Yes, your mom definitely drank. She definitely partook in the spirits of the Black Pen Society.
She had a
We'll
great
get her.
time.
I'll bring you some rum next time. You know.
I
Everyone
don't
loves
drink.
rum.
I
No,
I
it's not
don't.
for you. Why did you think it was for you? It's for your mom.
Really, pen shows are just people buying mom drinks at this point after hours.
Wow.
I mean, there's still a fair amount
Happen
of
after
pens
party.
changing
Things
hands.
happen after the show.
Yeah. The
Lots
funniest
of
thing
things.
is, mom appeared in so many people's Philly recap, and I'm in none of them. Because every time mom is in a group photo, I'm off doing something else with other people. Mom is in so many group photos from Philly.
She's just schmoozing. She's able to schmooze. You don't have that
Having a great
luxury.
time.
You have the master key. The heavy is the head that carries the master key. Yeah, it's actually heavy as the crown. Heavy is the head that wears a crown. Heavy is the hand that carries the master key.
There you go.
Oh, I got the master key.
Wasn't there also a tuna last year at DC?
Yes, Nick Pang is a fisherman, and he brings tuna to some of these shows. Fresh tuna,
I like that.
carved up. Look, I mean, you know,
love
the beauty of our community is that people can be themselves and express who they are, and the industry, I think, actively tries to meet us all at that place, right? Like, even if you don't love everybody's product, like, you can at least recognize, like, some of these things are really geared towards that idea. You know, like, I am just not a cat person, but I understand why all the cat themed everything makes like perfect sense, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, because it's like there's just a lot you can find a way to present who you want to present through all these objects. It's actually like evil genius work at play. You know, Carrie knows. She does design work for some of these brands. She knows. We're all in it together,
No, I
actually.
don't.
We're all part of the problem.
It's we are all part of the problem. And I was thinking about it. Like, Nick took us to a restaurant in Philly where Frank had to do our ordering from the table we were sitting at.
That sounds great.
It was great. The real downer for Frank is that I had a beef allergy. And so he had to order non-beef dishes as well as beef dishes. That put a real damper on what Frank wanted to order. But
Carrie and I have done that as well. When we go to a dinner and we don't, it's best we don't get involved in ordering. We just tell them what our dietary needs are and they take care of us.
We have to sort who is going to have what dish.
Yeah.
So they order everything.
Yeah. The funny thing is, so last year at Washington, I went to a dinner with a brand and a group of people in the pen world. And I have been going to Cantonese dim sum since I was a baby. I can order dim sum fully in Cantonese.
Ooh.
And so we get to this restaurant. I A, realize they're Cantonese, and B, realize that the Cantonese menu and the English menu are two different things.
Yes, that is an occurrence at American Chinese restaurants.
Once we sit down, we confirm with the table that they're okay with mom and I doing the ordering, and then I get to order everything in Cantonese, which is great because it was really good food. I'm
Sounds
sure
like
their
a win-win
food is
situation.
normally really good,
we
but it
should
was
call
really
you.
good.
Royal, the banquet
That's another why
banquet
we should call
eating, the
you.
master key. Just it's all Alexandra.
The dim
The
sum
life we-
menu. I have
You
to
need
say
better
that
PR, Alexandra.
I went eating dumplings with Alexandra's family, and I didn't order anything. They did all the ordering, and it was fantastic.
There you go.
Yeah.
On that note,
On that note, I have to agree. Very delicious.
So we leave it there on that bombshell.
I loved him so.
I mean, listen,
Yeah.
2 hours and almost 25 minutes.
25. We've never been this long. Look,
I have like another hour and a half in me. I don't like know what anyone's talking about. Like I'm just like, what? You're all talking like we've been doing this for forever. It's been only like 2 hours, like nothing.
I'm like, in just a couple hours, I have to go outside and put buckets back on maple trees.
the life.
So are you saying you need company until then, or you want to rest? Could go either way. I don't understand.
Oh no, it's the
crazy.
joy of maybe it's spring, maybe it's still winter. Who knows? It's gonna be freezing rain in 72 hours anyways.
Yeah.
Canada's
All right.
fun.
I have to say that it was so much fun. The sense of humor that you have is hilarious for my point of view.
Thank you.
It's
I'm just being me. I'm not even trying. Like, I just come and
oh my goodness.
behave as try not to offend. That's my only thing, which obviously the entire like Southern California hates me right now, but it's fine. But we'll make up at some point. They can't hate me forever, right? They gave me
You need
COVID
to go
before there was
there.
COVID.
You need to
I mean,
go there
number
more
one.
often. You need to fix nibs more often there.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll roll into Flax at some point, right? Because they're down there.
Oh, yeah, they are. They're
Yeah.
nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those guys are great. Yeah, no, I'm like I love the chat. The chat's been great. Following along.
We have
Eleanor is
We don't hate you, but watch your
Thank
back.
you. Yes, it's good to know where you stand, Arc Boy. Thank you for that.
I like that my members are threatening you. There's a great sense
it's only
of
like
comfort and dread in the fact that it's coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
That it's my own members threatening you. I apologize for that.
They're not threatening so as much as saying, something like, accidents happen. You just got to be careful. One minute you're like tuning nibs, and the next minute you're in concrete. It's just the way things go sometimes.
We have to say that we had people from all over the world, almost.
Yes.
We have people from Austria before, and then now from Australia.
Yeah.
One person goes to sleep, the other one wakes up. So,
it's a cycle.
No, it's good. That's what I'm talking about. The community, it's fantastic, because even if you see like on Instagram and on YouTube, like the shows in other countries, like they're in it too. Like this all speaks to people in a way, or at least some subset of the world population, so it's cool. It's great to be a part of it. I love it. Like it's, I'm sometimes jealous of the people that get to like travel more as part of all this, because their companies pay for them to fly and front the pens all over the world. I'm like, I wish I had that job.
Nice.
And then I'm like, I don't know if I wish I had that job. But a little FOMO going on, right?
Yeah.
So
but you're going to France this summer.
I am supposed to go to France. I have tickets.
You already have the tickets.
Yeah. It looks like I'm being welcomed back to LA. Somehow my innocent seeming oh shucksness has won the crowd over. So
lovely.
Thanks, guys. I'll be there soon. No, LA actually. LA, there's a lot of good things in LA. I didn't mean to diss it. I just meant that Chicago should get something. Should they deserve as much to be there on equal footing? All these American cities. So you're all Canadian. You don't.
But we enjoy going to the U.S.
You enjoy going to them, but like there's something.
The issue is the Canadian pen shows are all tiny.
one day,
and a single day
one
and
day,
have
10
no crowd
shows.
control.
Yeah.
I would much rather go to a US show.
Yeah, I mean the shows are
Like,
great,
it's
but what I was
travel
just gonna say
there.
is the cities that they're in, you know, like New York is sort of rare. Commonwealth is sort of rare. A lot of them are not in the cities. So, you know, like if you're tied up at the show all weekend, San Francisco's like this, you kind of miss out a little bit. I know like Alexandra came a little early to New York, so you got to like see some things. But like each one of these cities we've talked about where there's a Penn show, like there's like a history there that's like really important, especially for obviously the people that live there. But like, you know, like there's a reason Chicago is the way Chicago is, and there's a reason New York is the way it is, and there's a reason LA is the way it is. And like, I don't know why I'm making this point now, but you know, like the shows don't always like reflect that. And so like I'm here dissing LA and talking about Chicago. I don't know if the three of you necessarily, well, Marina might know because she lives in the US, but you know, I don't know if Alexandra and Carrie have the same perspective when I'm like talking about. Also, we have obviously the sports rivals, so you know. Like that sometimes plays a
We
role,
don't
but not for
have
me.
that.
Yeah,
Like-
so Arcboy and I are
Yeah.
making amends here. I agree. All great
Good.
cities have their flavors. Even if you go to Milwaukee, which seemingly, you know, whoever's on here from Milwaukee, you have a great city. It's underappreciated. You know,
Yeah.
so don't let.
I almost ended up there for PhD. So
Oh yeah, it's
Oh.
cool. It's got a cool thing going on.
I mean, my advisor is still advocating, but I really
Yeah.
like it here in California.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, I mean, there's like, you know, St. Louis gets a bad rap, I think, because like, you know, some of the news reports about crime or whatever eclipse like some really beautiful things about that city. I don't know. We're now on to like American geography, which I'm sure no one is interested in my thoughts on it. But, you know, being a traveling pen man, I meet all sorts of folk, and I'm here to tell you all about it. Yeah, like I said, another an hour and a half, easy. You know, just whatever. Tell
Yeah.
me.
Listen, I still have some bad jokes. So there you
Yeah, yeah. Sports rivalries,
Impersonations?
heated. Anyway,
all right.
That's
all
funny.
right. Just talk to my agent. I'll come back on whenever you guys need me. Like,
Yeah.
it's all
I
good.
feel like we'll have to have you on.
We
Yeah.
have
I'm like,
a
You know.
second. We need to go
the
to
kids really
volume
love
2.
me, so you know the fans. It's all about the fans. They're really into it. So
And thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us.
thank you for
Yeah,
having
thank
me.
you.
It's been a blast.
And
Always a good
everybody.
time. All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
Good night.
All right. You
All right.
too.
Good night.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.